gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and trippin' orange and black and white. Full day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who got 'em, who rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah, we got 'em.
Welcome to another episode of Bengals and Brews. I'm Del Altman, joined by the Iceman from Sports with Strawberry Ice, Jeff Trennepohl, and also joined by from Bengals Army, Dusty Langley.
Clean shaven face. What? I don't even recognize him.
And
dude, I'm always clean shaven, man.
You're in the man cave now, right?
Yeah, I'm downstairs, baby.
He's all set up in the man cave he got done.
Nice.
Yeah, I can get crazy.
Love to see it. Now, is that red instead of orange on the walls? Is that some Buckeye flavor you're putting in there too?
No, it's orange. It might just be the way the white's hitting it. It's actually really close to the jersey orange, but it just doesn't. It might not look like it right now.
Well, it's orange, so everyone knows.
It's close
Don't
enough.
call it red like at me and be an asshole.
No, it is orange.
Well, I couldn't tell, but I can kind of tell now. But yeah. I thought maybe you were doing, Buckeyes, because I got Buckeye stuff over here, Bengal stuff here, Bengal stuff there, Bengal stuff there.
I got Bengal stuff there. I got red stuff there. I got Bearcat stuff over there. I got a whole bunch of shit over there. Yeah, good. Your turn, Dusty.
You guys got these bad boys over here though.
No.
Are you talking about the recliners or the deer head?
I'm sure the deer head. The recliners I got, yes.
How many recliners down here on a hard ass chair? Like one of them.
Dale's in his garage.
Yeah, I don't have comfort down here.
Well, I do have that gray wall, so that wall's kind of gray where I might put some Buckeye stuff up there, but we'll see.
I like the AJ Green jersey. That's cool.
I like my stepdad actually got that for me. He picked her up one day and said, "Hey, you want this?" I was like, "Yeah, I do want it."
Yeah. The answer is yes.
The answer is always yes.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not even a question.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But thanks for everybody that's tuning in. Hooday to everybody, the Brew Crew. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Don't always do shows on Thursday, but wanted to do something a little different. We'll still have a show tomorrow. But going to kind of preview the Combine. So the Combine starts next week, maybe what we're excited about. These guys will probably hammer more things for the Bengals, but some in general as well. Me, I'll probably hammer a little bit of everything because, doing the draft guide, which should be done a little bit after the Combine. We're going to wait till after the Combine so we can update if we need to, if there's somebody's arm length was better than we thought, and I had that as a con because there was arm length questions. Yeah, Jeff, you would have short arm length.
I would have very short arm.
You would not. You'd have to kick into the interior line.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm actually planning on going to the Combine. We do it. Well, we do it every year, and my son forgot the date or whatever, and informed me today that he's not going with me because he's going to go visit his sister-in-law. So I told him bros before does, but he didn't agree with me. So I think it's going to be me and my brother-in-law. We're going to go, but we always go.
Oh, there you go, and that'll be fun. I know. I think Drew Garrison's going to be down there. I think some of Malik's people. I don't know if Malik's going to be there, but
I'm not going to be they probably got press passes. I'm going to be in the States,
right? I know, but you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there. Yeah.
Maybe they'll slide you a press pass.
Yeah, I doubt that.
He needs two of them.
Yeah, exactly. Two. Give me two.
So yeah, the Chiefs apparently are signing the Matareza.
I wish we would have.
Yeah, I guess they don't have an issue with his legal problems, and if anybody
well, it all cleared up as far as I know.
As far as I know as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, Roger Goodell obviously doesn't give a shit if it's the Chiefs anyways.
Right.
Was he a fourth round pick?
No, he didn't get picked at all.
He got picked. I think.
Oh no, Buffalo.
That's
right. Buffalo picked him. Yep.
I think it might have been sixth round. Was it sixth round or?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought he went high. It might have been six. I was thinking he was like a fourth or fifth round dude. That was kind of crazy.
I mean, he was expected to be really good. So if
I wanted the Bengals,
I'm sure somebody in the chat can tell us.
Yeah, I wanted the Bengals to draft him, and then all the legal stuff came out, and then the Bills released him. But I haven't got a chance to listen to it, but I heard that.
How did you know we argue about the draft guide, Darth? He's got inside information already. He said he wants to listen in, but I think he's already got me.
He's already heard the conversation.
Yeah.
But I was saying, did you guys see? I haven't got to listen to it yet, but apparently Darren Simmons was on Dave Lapham's podcast talking about that he's not worried about Brad Robbins as our punter, which kind of concerns me a little bit. I mean, I don't want to draft a punter, but I want to bring in some competition at least, and punt guy would have been good competition.
Yeah, well, I mean, it should be an open competition.
I don't think Brad was ever a distance punter. He was more of a placement punter, right? So
yeah, but even that wasn't good. And it wasn't – he had so many just like shanks this year. Mm-hmm. It was bad. Yeah. So many
that's what I'm saying.
Bad punts this year. That shouldn't be – he was never that bad at Michigan. So maybe he gets it correct. I couldn't tell you what happened. I mean, I'm hoping if he's our punter, he gets it corrected. But I was thinking for sure you at least bring in an undrafted free agent from the
which they might. Class. They might. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I agree with Anton here. He said he needs to get more consistent. Which that's the whole problem. He wasn't consistent at all. Sometimes he punted great, and other times, like Dale said, he just shank it. It's like, what the hell?
He had way too many bad punts.
Way too many. Yeah.
Plain and simple, you know.
Those are. And I mean, that's a big deal when you're playing in close games like we did a lot this year. I mean,
well, when you spend draft capital on the position, you expect the guy to be good.
Right.
I mean, just
exactly.
that.
I mean, I was excited for the pick, to be honest. I was kind of excited to see what he would do. So it was just a big disappointment. I think everyone held him pretty high standards and then came in and had some 25, 30-yard punts or punts that went out at weird spots and ended up netting 20 yards. I was like, man, what is this dude doing?
Which, to be fair, what else would Darren Simmons say if he was asked specifically about him? I mean, I doubt he's going to be like, yeah, his job's on the line.
He sucked. We're going to cut his ass.
He probably wants him to be confident, and he's probably talked privately with him on things that he needs to do better. And, I'm sure that there might still be competition. But if there's no competition, then we can all, get concerned and talk about it.
Well, I think that the thing with Bengals fans is we got spoiled with a shooter, with Evan McPherson, how good he was, and with how good he was, and we drafted Brad. I'm like, all right, well, we got the Evan McPherson version of a punter now, and that didn't work out that way. It wasn't even close. So as far as
long snapper, Kyle Automitis, man, like the special teams group kind of fell in line pretty good.
Oh, I think Kyle did fine. Yeah, just a punter and. There's stuff to improve. I mean, especially what wasn't great. I mean, there were. I don't remember what they're ranked, but they weren't ranked real high. You could definitely improve upon it. But the biggest issue is the punting, getting the ball in the air for a longer period of time, so we can at least get down there.
Yeah. Getting into combine preview, we'll kind of go by position. Quarterbacks, I'm not going to talk a lot. I think we're pretty set there as Bengals. But overall, for my draft rankings, I begrudgingly put J.J. McCarthy ahead of Michael Penix Jr. finally. And mainly, it's honestly an age thing. At some point, you got to go, one guy is so much younger with a clean injury history, and another guy is three years older with 4 season-ending injuries when he was at Indiana and Penix. So we won't be privy to the actual injury reports and the health things like that, but I do just want to mention that at quarterback. That'll be something probably important for Penix and where he'll go. Honestly, I have all of them as second-round picks. Like, now, will they go higher? Will McCarthy potentially go in the first round? Yeah, but he's a second-round pick talent-wise on my board still.
I'm down for all the quarterbacks going ahead of 18, so more talent drops to us. So I'm rooting for all the quarterbacks to do awesome in the combine, and somebody falls in love with them and gets them.
Damn it, Antoine, we do not
need a quarterback, Antoine. Who let Antoine in here? Yeah.
It's open to everybody.
Damn it.
Love
you, Anton. Just kidding.
He loves you so much he calls you Anton instead of Antoine.
I know. He knows what I mean, Antoine.
Jeff can't say names. He can't fucking read anything.
I can't read.
We all know this.
No,
but we
can't
still
do math.
love him.
Yeah, I do know sports though. Yeah,
That's debatable.
Maybe. Debatable. Yeah, maybe.
But moving on to running back, maybe we take one. That's been a hot topic. I don't want to get into that topic too much on here. The Joe Mixon thing, it happens every year. I just want to say, at least be somewhat civil. You can have a different opinion than somebody, but you don't have to block them or get personal or call them an asshole. And just be open-minded. You know, not everyone sees things.
Not everybody has to agree with what you're saying. That's why it's called a discussion.
Yeah. And Mixon's been dependable. I mean, I see the reasons to bring him back, but I also see the reasons that maybe he's not back or he takes a pay cut. Because $8.5 million is a lot of money when the average is $7 million, that Paul Dehner article. But Paul's just doing his job. That was my thing. Like, Paul's just doing his job, and he had, like, these are stats. He's just putting stats out there, people. Like,
well, the other thing is if you, and I'm not saying the Bengals are going to do this or anything, but I mean, if you were to cut Mixon and cut BJ Hill, I mean that money right there is enough to go sign T for the tag. So I mean that's kind of where, if you look at just purely by the numbers, I mean I don't want to do it, but I'm just saying that's what some of the numbers guys, which is not me, I didn't get this, but I didn't put this together, but that's what's out there. So, and I'd be shocked if they cut BJ Hill. Like Mixon, I don't know, dude.
I don't know how you can when you're
exactly. I don't know how you can. That one I'd just be shocked because we don't have anybody. He's literally all we have on our defensive interior line. Mixon, I don't know. I'm fine if they keep him. I'm fine if they cut him. I think he's consistent. They need to add to the room, but I could see it going either way. I don't see Mixon restructuring and taking even less money than he had last year. I don't see him doing that.
Yeah, and that's why some people think the argument could be made that they keep him because he did the restructure last year, and maybe this is part of the deal they made and said this, but we don't know for sure. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I want to win a Super Bowl, and I'm not as concerned with a certain player's feelings. I mean, that's just my personal opinion because I'd rather win the Super Bowl. Dusty, any thoughts on Mixon before we get into players and running back?
I love Joe. I think the big thing with a lot of people is Joe's personality and the juice he brings to the team.
Team leader, team captain.
Yeah. So with that, like, yes, I agree keeping Joe, but if you could get a Marshawn Lloyd, let me see, Jalen Wright, if you can get one of those dudes restructure Joe, restructure him, keep him this year, have one of those dudes, and then next year go forward with them. And Chase Brown, I think that would be ideal for me. But I don't want to see him go. But it's one of the it's a business, as they all say. And if you want to win, you got to make hard choices. You can't have too many feelings. And I was listening to somebody. I'm not going to say the podcast name, but I listened to them. They talked about Joe Mixon possibly not getting signed by another team, and I think that he would. I think he would get picked up if we did.
That was Paul Dehner and them too, right? Call them out. We call everybody out. No.
Yeah. I mean, I like some of their takes, but I do think Joe Mixon would be picked up by another team.
I do too.
Now,
I agree with
now
that.
I think he'd be picked up, yeah.
Now, the pay might be in half of what he's getting.
That's
the $8 million. But
we saw Dalvin Cook, right? And then Dalvin didn't hardly get he signed late and didn't hardly get paid, and then he got cut and went, because he wanted cut to go somewhere else because he wasn't getting touches. So I think that's why they were in the same draft class, things like that maybe that thought would be out there. But
yeah, I agree with that. And I remember last year we had a conversation, I think it was on your show too, about the Joe Mixon cutter stay, and it's just everybody likes him. I don't think too many people have a reason not to like Joe and what he's done for the Bengals. His ability not to fumble the football after Jeremy Hill's departure has been very, very nice for us. He's reliable. He can make plays. He's made plays. And he's been with us through the hard times and the good times, kind of like Tyler Boyd. But, I'd rather win a Super Bowl. If I won a Super Bowl with Jake Browning, I'd be just as happy if I won one with Joe Burrow. And that might not be the best. People might not like that because everyone loves Joe, and I love Joe.
That's how I was, when we were winning last year. It's like, get in the tournament and see what happens.
I mean, look, I'm the Jackpot Joey guy, and I would have been fine with that.
I'm never going to be mad about winning.
Yeah, I know. However we win it, I don't care. I just want to win it. And I think with Mixon, back to your point, is I do think he would get picked up, but he wouldn't, if they cut it, he would not get the same amount of money. I don't even think he would get even close to the same amount of money that he's getting with the Bengals. I mean, I hate to say that, and that's nothing against Mixon. That's just
positional value. It's positional
Saquon
value.
Barkley, I don't think he's going to get the bag that he deserves or thinks he's going to get. I don't think he's going to get that big money contract this year.
Positional value in the current market. It's similar with tight end and Daniel Jeremiah, as we'll get to tight ends, but Daniel Jeremiah was talking about with Brock Bowers, and you don't feel like teams might not feel like they're getting value. If you would draft a tight end in the top 10, he said, if you look at what you get on the free agent market, you're paying him as a top tight end right now. Like, just because that's what tight ends get paid, what you would pay him as a top 10 pick would be at the very top of the market for tight ends league-wide. So you would be paying Brock Bowers like he's Travis Kelce, and he's a rookie coming in that, still got to train. Now, he looks great, I'm just saying, but you could go on the free agent market and get somebody much cheaper. And then if you add a wide receiver, top wide receivers are getting $20 million. You know what I mean? So you feel like you're getting your money's worth by drafting the guy based on the position. And that's why you take premium positions. Defensive end, corner, offensive tackle, defensive end. I think I already said that one. But wide receiver. That's why you do that. You take those premium positions.
So you heard it here first on Bengals and Brews. Dale Altman is predicting Brock Bowers 18 to the Cincinnati Bengals because nobody's going to draft him and pay him that much money except the Bengals.
Well, that's where Daniel Jeremiah had him in his most recent mock.
Yeah,
but he literally said, I don't see him getting here. I just thought this would be fun, and I wanted to put him in. He said, but it's highly unlikely he gets there. But there's always a chance. But I want trenches still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Does it crack you up how many Bengals fans are like, oh, my God, we got to get Brock Bowers? I'm like, we need a right tackle. We need interior defensive lineman. That's what we need. I'm like, look, this isn't ideal, but I'll be okay with going in with Drew Sample and Tanner Hudson. I think Tanner Hudson could be a very good tight end and works very well in this offense. I think Drew Sample is good at what Drew Sample does. I think we should add to the room, but if that cost us trenches this year, then I'm out. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm similar. I think that right now no one's under contract, but Hudson is going to be.
He's going to be,
because they have his rights. So, and Charles here loves Mixon, can be explosive and need him block for Burrow. Gets ran through. Yeah, he's not much as a blocker. Love loyalty to the team. Maybe it is time to cut ties. Yeah, and
none of our running backs are very good at blocking, to be honest.
I'm not going to be mad either way, but I do hope, for the team's sake and trying to win a Super Bowl, that if he's back, it's on a lower contract than $8.5 million cap hit this year, because I want to add through free agency as much as possible. So that's the reason that I hope he takes a pay cut, but I can't promise he will. Who did Lindsay?
What's up, Lindsay?
Yeah, Antoine agrees about the blocking. But yeah, back to the draft guys. And just overall at running back, Braylon Allen is one I kind of want to see what he weighs in as from Wisconsin. Listed at 6'2", 245. He was a little dinged up this year, so maybe he wasn't as explosive. But this kid was, as a true freshman, came in at Wisconsin and was dominant. And he's just such a big body. The immediate comparison is Derrick Henry, just size-wise, Big and boy. He's got pretty good cutting ability for a guy that size. And the biggest thing is he's only 20 years old right now. So he's super, super young with tons of experience, massive frame, reliable hands, but hasn't ran a lot of routes, and also hasn't really been targeted a ton. But when he has been, he's had decent hands. So I'm just him at the combine in general. I want to see if he's healthy, if he looks explosive, and drills. What he runs at that size will be interesting because, obviously if he, if the guy at that size comes in and runs a 4.5 even, you're going, holy shit. This guy is going to make himself some money. So that's one guy I'm looking at.
So can I ask you a question, Dale? Where do you see – I'll put it this way. I don't see the Bengals drafting a running back till the probably 6th round. Is that where you think, or where you think it might be sooner than that, or just depends on who's –
It all depends on the Mixon thing. If it ends up just being
even if we keep Mixon, we still need to add to the room no matter what. We need another one.
Yeah, I mean, but if we keep Mixon, then I think it could be a later, like a 6th-round guy. But I think if we got rid of Mixon, then I think we're probably looking at potentially a 3rd, 4th, 5th round Chase Brown again. Just if somebody's there that's damn good, because that's kind of the sweet spot I think for this draft again is those rounds, and maybe like a Dylan Johnson in one of those rounds from Washington who played dinged up but had good toughness, productive season at Washington this year. So. But I'll be curious to see what he runs, because he doesn't look like he has the greatest speed. So,
what about Isaiah Davis? Isaiah Davis, have you watched much of him, Dale?
Yeah, I've watched some of him. Small school, South Dakota State, which has like 4, 5, 6 prospects in this draft. Kind of crazy. They're the new North Dakota State of the SCS. Great size, 6 foot, 220. He was at the Senior Bowl, so those are official measurables. Good burst, vision. Not bad yards after contact. The level of competition is always a question, just moving up. Didn't really dominate at the Senior Bowl, but didn't also look out of place necessarily either, so that was a good sign. Doesn't have great top-end speed, and then hands are decent. So, but once again, what does he run, right? We're talking combine. So,
and I'm just thinking more of a late-round dude. He's kind of a guy that has been on my radar for – that might be there around round 6 or something, like Jeff was saying. Because most of the dudes I have are going around 3 to 5 probably.
Yeah, and I think that's a good name because he's like Dylan Johnson, a little bigger backs, and I think maybe they want that. Although Chase Brown, I mean, he got a lot of carries. He was a workhorse at Illinois, but I also think that he could. We saw the explosiveness with Brown and his ability to catch passes, so. You could still add a power. I think you could go either way, honestly. Running back talent and depth, you take the best player, in my opinion. I'm not worried about workhorse back or this, that, or the other.
So the workhorse backs I have would be Marshawn Lloyd and Jalen Wright, but I also think Ray Davis. I know Ray Davis is your dude. I feel like Ray Davis could be a 3-down back. I know he's shorter, but he's still. Well, I haven't wrote down like 220. I think it's way in that. Or what I saw was 220. So I mean, he might be shorter, but he's got size. I think he could be a 3-down back. But those 3 dudes I really like, and I feel like they're probably going to be like 3rd, 4th round picks that we're going to have to decide on, or the Bengals will have to decide on what they want, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, and I've kind of moved Davis down a little bit because, like, when I do my initial stuff, it's just tape. And then once you dig in and you look at the age and you look at the, breakout age, all that stuff, that injuries, you want to factor it in. So I still like Davis. He didn't move round-wise, but he moved from, like, early 3rd round for me to, like, bottom of the 3rd to the kind of, top of the 4th is where I could see him going. Just because he's going to turn 25 years old in November. That you can't ignore that age, but he's very good. I mean, he was like watching him on tape. I have him as one of my favorite running backs in the entire class. And he showed good hands at the Senior Bowl. 5'8", 220, like you were saying, Dusty. So, I mean, just a freaking thickly built running back that has pretty good speed, good hands, good at everything. But once again, almost 25 years old. It's just hard to do.
What about the kid from Kentucky? Have you talked about him?
That's Ray Davis.
Okay, that's it. All right, that's the one I like him in the I'm going to mess his name up. Esteban, whatever from
Estime from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I remember him. I watched him. He caught my eye, and when they played, I think it was the first game of the year. They played over in Ireland. And I'm like, dude, his legs are this freaking big. And
he's got tree trunks for legs, man.
That's an NFL running back, dude. I like just watching him run.
Yeah, so I've got him as a 3rd round guy. Also, see what he weighs in, and everything at the combine. But he's listed at 5'11", 227. So I mean, that's a big, thick dude. Mm-hmm. And if they're wanting, to have a guy like that, especially for short yardage, which I mean, he has shown a little bit of breakaway speed, but it's not much speed. We'll see what he runs.
Yeah.
So between Marshawn Lloyd and Jalen Wright, I think they're the same size. I don't have wrote down what Marshawn Lloyd's size is.
He was 5'9", 217 at the Senior Bowl.
217. So he's actually weighs a little more, and he's
surprisingly, he
slightly
didn't look
shorter.
like that on film. Like he didn't look like he weighed that much.
I thought they were pretty comparable, around 5'11", 210 is what I have wrote down for Jalen Wright. But both those dudes, I have very similar things wrote down. Just how hard they cut. It seems like when they cut, it looks smooth. It's like a clean cut. It's not. They don't look off balance. Their balance looks good. In Jalen Wright, I read that they had him clocked at 23 miles an hour in practice.
Ooh.
Do you believe that?
For Jalen Wright, I do, because if you see that Georgia highlight that floats out there all the time, which I mean I've watched multiple games on him, but that Georgia highlight where he just blows through everybody once he gets through the hole and has some space, he's just gone. No, those defensive backs couldn't come close to him.
Yeah, I mean when I watched him, like I said, he looked quick and he looked fast. So I wrote down he looks like he moves faster with the ball in his hand. So when he gets the ball in his hands, he looks like he's just moving quicker than everybody else. But yeah, clocked at 23. That's moving, dude. That's
and that's I know I was listening to a podcast the other day. I think it was the CBS guys with Spillman, that Rick Spillman that used to be a GM, and they were talking about how Wright, they think he'll come in the 4.3s in the 40s. So, and I mean, he plays like it, like you see that on tape. So if he clocks a 4.3, he has the best chance to make a lot of money. He was supposed to be at the Senior Bowl, didn't end up going. Don't know what that was about. So I'm hoping he's there, and I'm hoping he runs, and I'm hoping, because I want to see this guy. He's excited.
That is size, man. Like, it's not like he's one of them 195 backs.
Right.
You know, he's 210. Who knows? It could be 205 at the combine. He might lose a little weight to move a little quicker, but that's a fast guy.
Yeah, I agree. And then Lloyd, I mean, like we talked about with him, he weighing in at 217 was super impressive because he's another guy, great speed, elusiveness, good patience. Does have some ball security issues. Don't know how good he is as a blocker. ACL injury in 2020. It's kind of some of the things I have down for him. Didn't get a ton of yards after contact, but
sorry, I still think he was pretty shifty. I wrote down on stuff I watched this year that he was shifty and he plants and goes, cuts hard. He's pretty big, but his feet move choppy and quick. So for his size, and I didn't know he had an ACL issue in 2020. So
yeah, but I mean that's 2020, so there hasn't been issues since then. But I just always put stuff like that down in my notes, because the medical.
I'm trying to think about this. Brian brought this up from Deep Fried Draft on my show this week, and you might know who talking about Dale, the running back who got. Yeah, I'm going to the combine. The running back who got an ACL injury. I want to say from Tennessee this year. That was going to be a highly drafted guy, and he's saying he still might. He could see the Bengals taking a chance on him, and I wish I could think of his.
What is name. It? The Tennessee guy was Jalen Wright. We were just talking about.
No, did he? Is he? But he.
There's the second
this
one.
Guy. Well, this guy tore his ACL. I think was out for this year, and he's supposed to be in the draft this year, and he was supposed to be a high.
This is running back.
Yeah,
Jabari Small. Does that sound like the right name? Because that's their other running back that's in the draft.
Maybe that was it. I can't remember off the top of my head. I meant to ask him.
You're talking about Texas guy. He played Jonathan Brooks, and he got injured, but it was later in the season.
Maybe that was it.
He had an ACL injury later in the season.
But yeah,
he's only 20. Yeah. He's only had one career fumble. He was playing behind, obviously, Roshan Johnson and
he's coming out now.
Bijan.
Yeah.
Johnson.
So Jonathan Brooks, I got
him right behind Benson. For me, they're 1 and 2.
I heard that the Cowboys doctors did his one of the doctors that works for the Cowboys did his surgery. So they've been seeing him firsthand pretty well. I'm assuming probably better than anybody else.
Yeah, I like Brooks, but he's a guy. Him and Benson, I didn't really talk about a lot on here because I think they're my two highest guys. I think if anyone goes in the second round, because I don't have any of them going into first. But if anybody goes in the second round, it'll be one of those two guys. If
Will
not
this be
both.
the first year that no running back, if this happens, no running back went in the first round?
No, Giovanni Bernard was the first running back off the board, I think, the year that we drafted him in the second.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it happens. Like, there's running back is another one of those positions, you know. Once again,
Right.
the positional value. Last year was just a little different. You had Bijan, who was supposed to be generational, and then Jameer Gibbs, who had
He still
a
could
great
be.
season.
I think he's on. I don't know.
Yeah, he was good. Like,
He's
I'm
good,
not
but-
knocking Bijan.
I still think he's going to be really good if they have the right coach and stuff now.
So
Yeah.
what was Trey Benson's injury? What
I
that
just
wasn't
had.
an ACL.
I need to look into that more. I just have injury history. He had multiple different injuries throughout the years. I think he had an injury in high school, and then he had an injury early in his career that kept him out. But I don't think it was an ACL. But I just wrote down the injury history. A lot of them I'll have the specific information, but I don't have it on him.
Yeah, I think Brooks would go crazy with us. That would be
Yeah, oh yeah. He's damn good, and he's in that conversation for the top. I mean, I have those guys like, you know, very closely rated. Lindsay's asking, this isn't Bengals related, but this will be kind of for Jeff since he's our big Bearcats fan. Is Ritter going to be a backup quarterback anywhere? Assuming I think he might just be a backup in Atlanta.
I think he's going to be a backup in Atlanta. I don't see any reason why they would cut him.
Even if they bring in Fields or somebody else,
Right, yeah.
he's on a rookie contract. So.
Yeah, money wise, there's no reason to cut him. They wouldn't gain anything. So yeah, I think he's gonna be in Atlanta until he can battle whoever they bring in. You know, quote unquote battle. But if they bring in Kirk Cousins or Fields, I don't think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be the backup there. So unfortunately, he didn't play consistently enough to take that job, but. It is what it is.
But yeah, moving on, because we have not hit very many positions. So why
we hit running back for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we did. And we might not even take one. Who knows?
Right, exactly.
But we covered it. We need 4 hours on this show, but we can't do that. Jeff's got a show.
We could talk for 4 hours. I'm pretty sure we could do that. We've done that before.
Oh, we could easily do that. But
We've done that before.
You've got a show at 5:30 with.
Well, we'll just roll it over into my show. We'll just keep talking there.
Yeah, game on. You got to join here and just listen to us talk about the combine. Sorry, everything I was playing scrap. So, wide receivers. I think we franchise tag T. That's where I'm at with it. I don't see us tag and trading. It's not something we've done, and they're not just going to let him leave for nothing. So, would you agree that that's where we're at least with T? So T,
absolutely.
Chase.
Yeah, and I don't think TB we're signing him, but I still think we're drafting a wide receiver. I think running back. I think we drafted a running back before we drafted a wide receiver, to be honest, because that's the reason we drafted Chuck Sizzle and Yoshivas last year. But I do think we will draft one, but I think it's 6th, 7th, 8th round, somewhere around there.
See, I could see this being a 3rd or 4th round pick for a slot wide receiver because
me too.
Chuck Sizzle is an older prospect with injuries, and he played outside mostly at Purdue. He didn't always play in the slot. I could see us targeting a talented slot receiver, and there is a bunch of them.
I'll put it to you this way. I can see that, but like I keep saying here, it depends on what we do in free agency. If they address the trenches enough in free agency, and it makes it so it's BPA, which is what I hope they do, then yes, I can definitely see that. But if they don't, and you got to get somebody in this, trench wise, defensive or offensive line, first or second round, then yeah, I would be surprised.
But I don't want to hit the trenches in like the 4th round, I think you can get a more talented slot receiver than you're going to get a trench player when you get to like the 4th round. That's just my thoughts on it. It's a good, really good wide receiver class.
That's what I was going to say. Even as good as this wide receiver class is, that's where I'm like, there's more wide receivers in this class that you could get. You have a better shot at getting a better wide receiver in the 5th or 6th round than you do a trench guy.
It's all day 3, Jeff. Yeah. So 4th through 6th round, it's all day 3. Yeah. But I will mention, some names that we like. I'll let Dusty. What's up, Arrow? You come in for us to hear the highway?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm finally going. I was going 35 miles an hour down 275, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna pop in here. and now I'm going 70 again. But
You had
He's
a
rolling.
moment. You just wanted us to hear your voice. We can't see your face, which is what
Very
I really
disappointing.
want.
I miss your face.
I
know.
said we're gonna have to do a weekend show, but this guy, he just doesn't like me. He doesn't talk to me on the weekends. He doesn't. He's just like, oh,
Man.
family. I've got a family.
I want to go get a deep tissue massage on my back and hurt for 2 weeks afterwards.
I've got to get tattoos nonstop. This man's changing his work schedule to keep working on his sleeve on his arm. What a
got to do
honky.
something, right?
You're just gonna end up like MGK and just get it all blacked out.
Yeah.
His whole body was
Saturday,
just black ink.
that's what I'll have to do if the Bengals ever leave, But
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Don't even say that. What's wrong with you? Don't
Just
even-
jinxed
no,
it.
I'm the only
Jinxed
reason
it.
I'm saying that is because somebody asked me. They were like, "What are you going to do if the Bengals leave?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I'm not gonna have to worry about it because the
I'm
Bengals
not-
aren't gonna leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you. You said
Yeah.
fuck you and you punched the person.
Right, exactly. Don't ever say it. Ask that question again.
Grab the dick and twist.
But wide receivers. So I know Dusty, you were looking into some of these. Tell me some of your favorite slot wide receivers for potentially day 3, maybe at the earliest 3rd round. Because I don't see us taking a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. We have other positional needs, I think, for this year.
Yeah. My ideal situation would be first round, either right tackle. It kind of goes for both. Trenches rounds 1 and 2. Round 3, I would definitely be cool with taking a positional player. Ricky Parcell, does he remind you
Ricky
of Chuck Chisholm a
Pearsall,
little bit?
yeah.
Or Purcell, yeah. Does he remind you of Chuck a little bit?
A little bit. I think he's got maybe a little more natural speed, but yeah, he's a return guy. He's white. Iceman, get back on here, damn it. You can't take your face off.
That's
You
what
have to
everybody
have
else.
your face on here. You and Dusty are the face
No,
of
it's
the
just
show.
Bullshit.
You guys are the face of Bengals and Brews.
No, the 2 guys that that don't have the cameras are the faces of Bengals and Brewers.
Nah, no one wants to see my fucking ugly ass face.
I do.
What?
All I know is they haven't seen my face in I don't know how many months. and
Well,
we
you
haven't
came
lost
on after
viewers,
you
so-
shaved it.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah, we've
like,
seen your
"What
baby
the
face."
hell?" Sorry, Dusty.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Got distracted.
I'm just going to say, Ricky had some pretty cool. He had some nice catches. What I had wrote down, he tracks the ball really well. He takes really good angles. So when he has the ball in his hands, he looks like he has some speed, but he also uses his angles to his advantage. So when he's got a CB coming across on him or a safety trying to make an angle, he seems like he out angles them when he's got the ball in his hands. But watching him, he really did remind me of Charlie Jones a little bit on the
Yeah, I
film
can
was
see
watching
it
him
for
last.
sure.
Yeah. But I just wanted to see if you guys thought that. That's a reason why I don't think he is exactly a target for the Bengals, because I feel like we have that similar
Yeah.
person there.
You have
But-
Ricky Pearsall at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie Jones.
So my 2 favorite targets, really there's 3. One of them's your guys, but it'd be Malachi Corley. Just the dude, he's not as tall as what you would think he is. He's 5'11", but he's 210, and he plays
Poor
super hard. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's just
Super hard.
yeah, real hard, bud. But that dude, I like Malachi Corley a lot. He's just strong. His ability to get up after the ball, at the catch point, and then Javon Baker. So does Javon Baker remind you a little bit of Jamar Chase?
No, hell no.
No.
I don't have him that good. I don't think he has
I'm not
nearly the
gonna-
explosiveness. Now, I have moved him up. Like, I had him a 5th-round guy, and I just had him. I like a lot of things about him. So I have moved him up to, like the late 4th or mid-4th round area. But, man, I don't see Jamar Chase in.
I'm saying
like a
kind of his-
Tebow version of Jamar Chase.
I'm saying his traits, some of his traits. Now, yeah. Like, I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase by any means, but when you watch him, the way he catches the ball and he snags it, he catches it with just pure strength. His sideline catches.
So his hand wise, strong
his
hands.
his
Yeah.
hands and his footwork
I got you.
when he's coming down on the sideline. So in the end zone, I put end zone footwork to get down in bounds. The same with the sideline, and his speed after the catch and ball skills. And that kind of reminded me of Jamar a little bit. I'm not saying he's an exact replica of Jamar, but
No.
I see flashes of him that resembled some of Jamar's play.
Yeah.
Like if I were to go on DH Gate and order Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he's DH Gate, Jamar Chase. No, I don't mind DH Gate. So shout out DH Gate sponsors. China
Sponsor the show.
moving into the China market. But I mean, big playability wise, yeah, because this year he had his 21. He averaged 21.9 yards per catch. So the big playability is there, but he doesn't have the speed that Jamar has. He doesn't create near as much separation. He's not going to get you a bunch of yards after catch that Jamar can do. But, I mean, hands-wise and just making big play, he's very good down the field, has very good hands. There's a lot to like with him. And if anything, I would say, like, he could – I mean, I know he can play on the outside, but, man, to have him as a big-bodied fucking slot receiver would be fun.
Well, that's what I was saying, too. I wrote down he plays inside. I've seen a bunch of videos of him playing inside and outside.
Right.
So he seems versatile to me in that. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
What's
he's Jamar
his size?
Chase.
He is 6'1", 208.
6'1", 208.
Yeah, he was at the Senior Bowl, so that's official measurements. And he had a good Senior Bowl week, you know. And he originally was at Alabama for 2 years, but didn't really do anything there and transferred. Had 2 very productive seasons at UCF.
So could it be like a Larry Fitzgerald maybe?
No, would you all stop with these high-ass comparisons for a 4th-round pick? What? Chill.
What? Like,
I'm
we're
just
talking
using
4th
traits.
round, right? You're comparing them to 2 guys that are Hall of Famers. One said Jamar Chase, the other said Larry Fitzgerald. I'm like, that would be awesome. But he projected as 4th round pick. I don't think that's the way it's going to work. Maybe.
All right,
Listen, I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase. I'm saying his trait with certain things.
Arrow said Larry Fitzgerald. So we'll blame
Arrow's
Arrow.
dumbass.
Arrow's a dumbass. We're blaming Arrow.
I was just trying to think of a well, all right.
Hunter says Randy Moss. So there, we'll
Yeah.
just throw the greatest wide receivers out there. We'll just throw them all out.
He's a mixture of Jamar Chase, Randy Moss, and Larry Fitzgerald.
And we're gonna draft him in the 4th round. Let's go.
I think he'd be a steal.
He could be the next Puka Nacua, guys. You don't know. No.
Yeah, I think he'd be a steal in the 4th round.
Good.
He honestly could be the next Puka Nacua.
I have no idea.
Let's go with that because he could be a guy that goes in the 3rd through 5th round.
Let's go.
Like Puka in the 5th and just be a damn good player that produces a lot. That wouldn't surprise me. I think that's fair to say. Couple guys I like at slot. Malik Washington, only 5'8", 192. But the dude is just damn good. And he had a very good Shrine Bowl week. He wasn't invited to the Senior Bowl. He was invited to the Shrine Bowl. But had almost 1,400 yards this season at Virginia. Pretty good production at Northwestern, even though they're not known for throwing. He had like 500 yards, and then he had 700 and some yards. Then obviously blew up once he went to a team that threw the ball a little more, even without great quarterback play. Explosive. He makes contested catches pretty well for a guy that's 5'8".
He plays bigger.
Plays a lot bigger than that size. I really like him. Another guy that's a lot smaller, and I don't know if the Bengals would like because he's so small, but Jacob Cowing from Arizona, 5'8", only 165. That is super light. But, I mean, you saw Devontae Smith, right? He was more like 6 foot, 170 or whatever he was. It wasn't a lot. So I'm not going to say he can't make it with that size. He constantly – I put frequent chain mover. If you need a first down, the guy creates separation. He gets open. He's awesome from the slot. So Jacob Cowing from Arizona, I would love to land him in like the 4th round.
That should be a T-shirt you guys make. You tell Porch a frequent chain mover.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could make some money with that one.
I mean, he just gets first downs, man.
Yeah,
and
that's not a bad thing. That's
No.
not a bad thing.
No, he's going to get open. If you need to play on third down, he's going to get open. Those are my main ones. The one that could go, two that could go a little later, Jaquan Jackson from Tulane that played at the Senior Bowl. Never had high production, 5'9", 185. Has some return ability. He was a 4-year starter, but he played at Tulane with Michael Pratt, who's probably going to get drafted in the mid-rounds, fourth round at quarterback. But 16-plus yards per catch, 3 straight seasons. So he's got great speed. He's the guy to keep an eye on for the later rounds. And then the last one is your guy, Dusty. I'll let you talk about him more. This might be more 5th round, 6th round even, Taj Washington from USC. Dude is produced, and he's damn good. He doesn't have big size, but he's quick. I hadn't watched him until Dusty told me about him, and I really liked what I saw from him.
Yeah, so Taj Washington, his routes are good. He's clean. He's speedy. I'm interested to see how fast he actually is. If he's just super smooth or if he's actually
I'll be back. I'll
really
get a drink.
fast.
Okay.
His ball tracking, I wrote really good ball tracking, but he's also quick in small spaces. So what I mean by that is when he's got a group of defenders around him, he's able to make people miss and also just make the most out of small areas. So that's what I really like about him. If you watch him on the sideline and he's kind of trapped, he's normally able to get out of it and pick up another 3 to 5 yards. But yeah, I like Taj Washington. He's 5'9", around 180. I think he's definitely a little underrated. Like for people doing mock drafts and see him in the 7th round or even falling undrafted, I don't see that happening with him. But he did have a pretty good quarterback that's probably going to go number 1 overall. So in that team with that quarterback could make him look a little better. But we got Joe Burrow, so
yeah,
I think.
And I mean, I have Brendan Rice, who's Jerry Rice's son, as a higher prospect that went to USC. But Taj Washington was the go-to receiver this year. Mm-hmm. You know, even though he was smaller, he's still the go-to guy that produced more for that offense. So I like Taj Washington a lot. If you got him in the 5th or 6th round, I wouldn't complain at all. I think he could slide right into that slot role along with the other guys we mentioned. So
yeah, he's my late round gem. So if we don't get anybody up to that point, Taj Washington would be a guy I probably would not have a problem with maybe in the 5th round, honestly.
Yeah.
Other than his weight. His weight might be a little concerning, but his speed he's high pointed some balls. His ball tracking, just to be able to make difficult catches and track the deep ball was pretty impressive to me.
I mean, Pork Chop woke up. He said hi on here, and then he just disappeared. Yeah. And here's one from Andrew that I missed a little earlier. If they address the right tackle in free agent, they need to address defensive tackle too to even consider this. But I do like Brian Thomas from LSU. And I do think he would be worth pick 18. It's close. Like, it wouldn't be a super reach. Great long speed, big playability.
And I would say this, that I want 2 defensive tackles in free agency before we could do something like that. That's where I'm at. Cause,
at minimum, if not 3, because right now, DJ Reader, Josh Tupou are both free agents, and Zach Carter didn't produce. That's 3 spots you need.
Right.
Yeah, look, Pork Chop said, he called me out. I got to get on here.
I heard someone say LSU.
Yeah, Brian Thomas.
Dude, that dude's badass, man. 6'4", 440, runs a 440. He's a good replacement just in case they had to tag and trade some superstar receiver on the team already. He'll fit right in on a rookie contract. If we get him in the 1st round, because he ain't going to be there in the 2nd. I'm not saying we should take him. I'm just saying if you get him on a rookie contract, that's 5 years to pair up with Jamar Chase. That's cheap.
Yeah. And then looking at guys for the combine at tight end. So tight end is one of those. I mean, obviously Brock Bowers, what does he weigh in? Go ahead, Derek.
I was just going to say, can I ask you guys a question real quick?
No.
What's one guy
said no,
or maybe 2 guys that would make you if they fell to us in the 2nd round would make you seriously question going away from wanting to go trenches?
So are you talking like? So you're
For
talking
receiver.
wide receiver?
Brian Thomas Jr. He's one of them, right?
Yeah, he would be pretty
Yeah.
high on that list for me as well. Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, there's a lot of Troy Franklin's another one, 6'3", only 187, but dude has great speed and length, hugely productive at Oregon. Like if Troy Franklin fell to that pick, I'd be like, damn man, you could be set again. Plus, you could use him this year as basically a deep threat with the two guys you had. So, if a Troy Franklin or a Brian Thomas Jr. and both of them, for what I just said, would apply, you could use them this year as deep threats in the second round. I would consider it because then you feel more comfortable letting T go and still having weapons for Joe Burrow.
Would you consider O'Donnell Mitchell, or I might be saying his name wrong, but Mitchell from Texas?
I think it's Adonai Mitchell, but AD Mitchell is what you just call him. AD Mitchell is what a lot of people would say.
Would you consider him? And also so he looks like he's pretty fast, but he also looks really smooth. Is one of the things I wrote down.
He's a really good route runner.
Yeah, so I'm curious to how fast he really is at the combine.
Right.
If he's fast or if he's just really smooth. But he seems like he separates and finds some holes in the zone. But he does go down on first contact often, from what I saw. Is he a guy you would target in the second if he was there?
I don't think I'd target him. If he fell to the third, I'd be like, oh shit, this guy's too good to pass up. But in the second, I don't think I'd target him. I think I would need a guy to fall for me to want them, like Brian Thomas and Troy Franklin.
Right.
Because I have them as first-round talents, and then they would fall to the second. I have A.D. Mitchell as a second-round talent. If it was the year where we didn't have T, then, yeah, I would target him in the second. But having T, I wouldn't.
Did you guys see that picture of Brian Thomas in the gas mask?
No, he was in a gas mask smoking mad weed, man. Brian
Was
Thomas
he?
fall to the second round.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's blazing.
Hey, he's probably setting it up. He wants to fall to the second round to the Bengals.
Yeah.
He's doing
That's
the
the
setup.
only. That's the only way. Actually, I have a question. If that would happen, I don't think these guys would drop. I don't think that's the same. I don't think the NFL looks at it as the same.
Yeah, I don't think they give a fuck about weed.
Yeah, I don't think they care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think Tinsley kind of squashed all that.
He was doing meth, and now we're getting him. He's like,
It was a
you don't want to say that.
meth mask.
Brian Thomas was not doing meth. I'm sorry. Don't put
Right.
that out.
Don't say that.
That's not nice to say.
Also, another receiver, if he falls to the second round, that maybe we could pick up is Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah.
If he falls to the second round, we should
falls
probably
to-
pick
yeah.
him up.
Andrew Woods.
Oh, look at that. Andrew Regrese.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison does meth.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Marvin Harrison
must.
Jr.
He must.
To be specific, not even senior.
Dale just throwing them all out there. You heard it here first.
Yeah, he smokes mad meth, and he's a horrible person.
Is that what you do? You actually smoke meth? I don't even know.
Kick my
Yeah.
dog.
He's got a list. He keeps a list of everybody's ass he kicks every day, and every day he decides to kick someone, and usually it's a toddler.
Guys, we're almost an hour in, and we are just now to tight ends. This is a terrible combine preview. I mean, it's good. We've given out a lot of names, but we're clearly
Have you not watched any of our shows? We never stay on track. We always just
well,
draw off.
I mean, no, honestly, we've
been on the rails pretty well. It hasn't gone too crazy.
pretty fairly on track. It just
But pork chops here now, so who knows what's going to happen.
This motherfucker was off the rails already, Jeff. It's your fault this time.
Yeah,
I came in to try to help out.
You can't blame Chuck.
Yeah, I just got here. This is on you. Tell him, Dusty.
It's on you, buddy.
There you go. See, it's a fucking democracy around here, Jeff. You got voted.
So tight ends. So we already mentioned the Brock Bowers thing, and the value of that Darren Jeremiah mentioned, and I don't think he gets 18. If he does, it's going to be a conversation, and maybe they take him, and you got a good player. But I won't spend a ton. I'm curious to see what he weighs in at, right? Because he's not going to be. He's only like 6'3", and he could weigh in anywhere between 230 and 240. So he's not a big tight end, but I mean he makes up for that with his explosiveness, speed, big playability, everything else that he does. I'm not saying he's definitely tight end 1 and potentially worth pick 18. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, I'll be interested to see kind of his measurables and then what he tests like also. So if he weighs in at 6'3", 230, does he just test like an absolute freak for the tight end position and have a RAS of like, and the measurables were already hurt him for a tight end because that's part of the RAS scores.
Yeah.
So, but does he still end up with a 9 or higher RAS score with those measurables? Then that'll be impressive. So, I'm definitely looking forward to that for Brock Bowers. Jatavion Sanders, kind of similar thing.
Can I ask you a question, Dale? All right, but I think Brock Bowers is, my opinion, the only tight end that is probably going to go to the first round. We might not see another one until the third round, probably, because this isn't a deep tight end class.
Sanders should go in the second. I have him as a high second round pick. Just sometimes he falls on those mock drafts.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, because
they still have him ranked high. He just falls in that. Well, somebody's going to take him.
Well,
Sanders is good.
He's good. I'm with you. He's good, but I'm just saying with the way the talent is with the tackles and the wide receivers, which are more premium positions, that people hold higher than they do the tight end. That's kind of where I'm like, he could drop.
Bengals of Bourbon is a fraud.
Yeah, you are a fraud, man. Jeez, what the hell? Why the hell you spell my name with a G?
Jeff Hobson. You're the new Jeff Hobson.
You're the new Jeff Hobson.
I guess. G off. That's G off.
All right. So, any other tight ends that you're looking forward to, testing wise, their hands, just see how they do at the combine. Dusty, you got anybody at tight end that?
Jaheim Bell. I want to see his size.
Well, he was Senior Bowl guy, so he was 6'1", 244.
Okay, so he is smaller.
I watched Senior Bowl. There really wasn't any tight ends that really stood out that I saw anyway.
I like Jared Wiley, who's 6'6", 253.
Yeah, I like Derek. I like the size. Yeah,
he moves pretty well for a guy that size, but he's going to be 24. He's got the high cut frame.
That's it. We're getting a lot of guys that are 24, 25 years old because of the. I think we're still. When are we going to be ending the COVID stuff? Like, what is that?
I think this is the last year.
Is this it? Okay.
And there's a year.
Good, Dusty. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Good.
No, you're good. Dolan Holker is the other one from Colorado State. He was a guy that he won some awards. He looked really good. I know he's from a small school, but if you can pick him up in a later round 5, 6, I think he could contribute, especially in a empty tight end room. So he's definitely a guy that I've been high on, that I kind of like. I understand Jared Wiley. He's an exciting prospect. But Jaheim Bell, I like his his ball skills, and just I like him. That's a dude. I don't
he's
know if
a good
like
athlete. Him. Like he was like the leading rusher at South Carolina before he transferred to Florida State. They would literally play him at running back some and hand him the ball quite a bit. So impressive.
Yeah, I don't know if I like him as high as what a third round dude or anything like that, but maybe round 4, like he'd be round 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Then,
you know what? Tell me more about Sino. Is that how you say it, or Sinat, or not?
Sunoco.
Ben Sinat.
It's not
Ben
Sunoco.
Sinat. So I have him as like my third tight end. I have him behind Bowers and Sanders, who are like separate tiers for themselves. So Bowers first round, Sanders second round. Sinat is not a guy considered till the third round at the earliest. And he's got alignment versatility. He's very solid, good hands, decent movement skills, a decent blocker. There's a lot to like about him, and I do agree with Hunter and Chris that I like him, and I think he's going to be good. So, but I'm curious to see what he runs. Just overall athleticism in general, like his RAS score once he does hopefully he does all the testing. I thought maybe he'd stand out more at the Senior Bowl and make more plays. I mean, he had to play here or there, but he did, once again, like Jeff said, with everybody, there wasn't really anybody that stood out a whole lot at the Senior Bowl at tight end. So we'll see.
Now, what about our guy, Cade Stover? Like, what's the reason for him falling? Because I feel like he was early talks. I liked him kind of the similar tier as Wiley, and it seems like he's not getting as much love right now.
He's not getting as much love, but I feel like we personally talked about him a lot. I have him at tight end 4. So I have Wiley at 5 now and him at 4. I think he's. I mean, he produced at tight end in Ohio State. Never hardly produces at tight end. So he produced for 2 straight years with like over 400 yards receiving, which is solid. Not super explosive, but a decent athlete. A willing blocker. He's not great at it, but decent size. Like I like Cade Stover. 3rd, 4th round. You know, it's similar with a lot of these guys. There's Bowers, there's Sanders, and then there's a bunch of other guys you would take. You know, preferably day 3.
Okay.
To me.
Are the Bengals in that mix? You think at taking one at day 3? I think they were. I think they could be.
Yeah, I mean, right now they have no one on the roster.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it'd be interesting day 3 for the Bengals if they address the trenches in the first 2 days, which I think they're going to do. But you know, I thought they were going to draft a tight end last year and they didn't. So what do I know?
They're not going to do shit, Jeff. We're all going to be sitting there fucking March 13th at 4 p.m. looking at our fucking computers and our little Twitter accounts and waiting for fucking Ian Rappaport to give us a fucking clue, and it's gonna be not a fucking thing.
There's the cricket noise. I haven't heard it in a while. I missed it. He's such a good.
That's what it's gonna be. March 13th, 4 p.m. Bengals. Nothing.
Yeah. Now another one that'll be interesting because I want to see what he runs is Theo Johnson from Penn State. Penn State tight ends are pretty damn good. And he's 6'6", 257, so he's got the size. He's a former wide receiver, so he's got reliable hands. But the most production he ever had was 341 yards in any given season. Like, that's the most that he ever had. So the production just hasn't been there, and I don't know that he's overly explosive. So if he tests out better, it's going to be a guy that, you know, could help his stock if he tests out better. But at least tape-wise, he doesn't seem like he's going to be a super athletic guy, but the RAS score for that guy will be interesting to me. Dusty, you got any tight ends besides the ones I feel like we've hit pretty much all?
Yeah, Theo Johnson was literally the one I was about to ask you about, just because he's an interesting prospect that a lot of people have fairly high, but his production's not quite there in my eyes. So he was somebody I was curious about, but you
getting ready to get into I think we're gonna have to 2-part this. So Dusty and Jeff, I don't know if you guys. Well, the combine starts next week, so I know Dusty, you got to work all weekend, right?
I do.
And say I might have to finish. Well, I might have to finish up defensive player. Did you say Sunday?
Sunday night.
Yeah.
What are you asking?
I don't think we're going to even get to defense before the combine starts.
Well, hey, we got an hour till my show starts, so you know.
Well, I know, but we still got all the offensive linemen to go through here. So let's start on the offensive line. Let's at least try to get through the offense. Derek, I know you were saying something. What'd you have, brother?
Oh, it's all right. I was just going to say, since we were helmet scouting, what about Iowa? But we can pass that.
Tight end you?
Oh, Eric All, who transferred from Michigan, who you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he transferred to Iowa this year. Wasn't bad. I like him. I like A.J. Barner, too, who transferred to Michigan from Indiana. Transfer portal was wild. But, yeah, I got both those guys as kind of, 5th, 6th round type players. Players to keep an eye on. We'll talk about them more, I'm sure at some point.
If they do anything. Yeah.
Well, we'll probably do positions, too, and talk about more of these guys. So. But, yeah, 2 names to keep an eye on, see how they test, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of more what this episode's about. Offensive tackles. Someone asked me earlier, I think it was my good buddy Crypt Keeper. He asked if the Notre Dame offensive tackle was boner worthy, and I'm assuming he's talking about Joe Alt.
He's going to be the first one off the board,
Blake
I think.
Fisher. Yeah. And Joe Alt is definitely boner worthy. He's my number 3 overall player.
He's going to the top 5, I think.
He should. He should. I think Dan Jeremiah in his mock took him to the Chargers at 5. So Rashawn Slater at left tackle and said just play him at right tackle. Then if you don't extend Rashawn Slater, which you probably wouldn't at that point, you move Joe Alt to left, and you got him for years, or you got both of them to protect Herbert for years.
That's where that's the team I don't think Brock Bowers is getting past. I think Chargers are going to take Brock Bowers.
I don't know, man. You're talking about a guy who likes offensive line and running the ball and Jim Harbaugh, though.
Yeah, but, dude, if you put him in that offense, dude, I mean, it'd be as good as... Okay, there.
I'm still saying Brock Bowers goes to Indy, but...
I can see that too.
Or New York.
New York needs an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Jets, yeah, they need offensive linemen.
No, I'm
Bad.
talking about the Giants.
Oh, the Giants. Oh, no, they still need an offensive line. Theirs wasn't all that great. They need a lot. The Giants,
Most of the offensive line, it's not going to be like the skill positions for the combine, right? We see that stuff with tape, and we see it with the Senior Bowl. It's just going to be like height, weight, measurements, this, that, and the other with them. The on-field drills isn't going to really tell you much. The tape is kind of king with offensive linemen, but just an offensive tackle I want to see because, well, two of them, Tyler Guyton and Amarius Mims. Because they're supposed to test really well. They're huge. Guyton was at the Senior Bowl, so he's 6'7", 328. And then Mims wasn't at the Senior Bowl, but he's listed at 6'7", 340. I just want to see Mims healthy and out there doing the drills and the testing and see how he tests.
Is it Mims or Guyton the only played like 7 or 8 games?
That is Mims from Georgia. He started 8 games.
That's the biggest knock on him, right?
Right, because they haven't played.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
From the Senior Bowl, I cannot remember his name, but the right tackle from Oklahoma.
That was Guyton.
Guyton, yes, yes.
That's 6'7", 328.
Yeah, he caught my eye. I watched a lot of the Senior. I was able to watch a lot of that one. Well, most of I didn't really watch the game a lot, but I watched the practices and stuff, the one-on-one drills. I thought he looked really good.
Then we'd have an Oklahoma on the right and Oklahoma on the left. Well, who was the other one? Someone in free agency, last name Brown, right?
Yeah,
Trent Brown with that.
Trent Brown.
Well, we could either have Oklahoma
elite
on the
tattoo.
bookends, or we could have the Browns on the bookends, right?
Yeah. I'm good with either one. Be honest.
If we take right tackle and the one, I think Fuaga probably goes, but Fuaga's in the conversation. Played right tackle.
He might get to 18. He might. He's the one that's I don't know.
Maybe, but he's one I could see going. And then it comes down to J.C. Latham, who could also be going from Alabama at right tackle. And then Guyton and Mims, though, are the more likely 2 players to be there at 18.
There's going to be somebody there that's worth drafting at 18.
My favorite right tackle, which I hope falls, is Jerzon Newton.
Yeah, they're probably not going to take him. That's why if we took Mike Onwenu, that's me and Jeff was talking about this before the show. I think and we said he's going to be our right tackle from the Patriots in free agency. Then I could see us passing on right tackle.
Yep.
But if we take Illuminor or Trent Brown, and it's a 1-year deal for either of them,
or draft.
I still think we're going to draft a right tackle.
You almost have to because you still don't have your future right tackle. So I mean that's
exactly.
But I'm okay with that because I rather I'm worried about having, no matter how good these rookies are, they're still rookies. Having a rookie on protecting Joe. Sorry,
I had to mute you, Derek. I don't know
loud.
what the hell was going on.
And just with our non-development of offensive linemen, I know Volson, but you can say what you want about Volson. I think he's doing good, but we still
improved.
He's improved. I'm not. This is not Volson's shade. He's really the only one that we've developed in the last couple of years. I mean, Jonah Williams, but he never hit for as high as and I'm a big Jonah Williams guy, but as high as he was drafted, he never was as good as we thought he was going to be. He was never an all-pro. He was left tackle. He was never that good. He's still a good tackle. But anyway, my point is that's why I'm hoping we sign a right tackle and we draft one. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you. Protect Joe, right?
Protect Joe, and then go get some guys in the defensive interior line in the second, third round. Is what I'm hoping.
Dale,
Chop,
if we get Trent Brown in free agency, are you guys going to get a matching tattoo?
No, I don't have any tattoos. I'm not getting that tattoo, but you can. You're the tattoo guy. You can get that.
Derek will schedule a day off of work for that shit.
And if anyone don't know what we're talking about, Trent Brown has a tattoo on his arm that is him with a football helmet on, and it's with 2 women.
Trent Brown. Yes, I saw that one. Yeah. I thought you were saying Derek had that on there. I got it.
No, but Derek's going to get it on his stomach.
Yeah.
He'll get that tattoo on his stomach.
No, and if you want to see Derek's tattoos, you can go to his Twitter page and watch him get about butt ass naked into that cold tub every day.
Or his Facebook. He put it on multiple platforms.
Why
he
are you
wants everyone to see that?
Yeah, why are you doing that again?
Because he fucking works out all the time, Jeff. He's into that bodybuilding shit.
Yeah, look how sexy he is.
Yeah, look at that motherfucker. When we go down to lot 1, he's not going to wear anything but a thong.
I must have been drinking too much because it doesn't look like he looks any different than he did last time I saw him with a shirt
I've been doing them 12-ounce curls, man.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing that Derek taught me, though, is a cold tub will make you deaf. When he gets in that cold tub, whoever's shooting the video is like, Dad, you okay? He's like, Dad, are you all right?
That was Sarah. She was kept jabbing at me, trying to get me to talk, and the only thing I could think of was, God, this is cold.
Dude, is it not the worst feeling?
Shit, it's a cold tub.
Cold tub, right?
Sarah's on there. Honey, you okay?
He pops out.
Bro,
He's
it's
got the turtle
seriously
head.
the worst feeling.
I'm a nurse, man, so I started worrying about fucking Derek's oxygen level, the way he was breathing. I'm like, God damn, Derek, you're going to got to take some good. And then he started taking deep breaths.
This is a good reenactment right now.
I know, pretty good at it.
Except for it was in my nose and out my mouth.
Yeah. Not all of it. Sometimes I put it in your
not
mouth.
all of it.
But Chris said for some reason he's scared of Latham. Well,
yeah, I feel the same way, though.
I think he's good, but Alabama tackles the track record lately, and you try not to scout the helmet, do this and that. But
I remember a couple years ago, I was big on Leatherwood. That didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a ton of them, and they just haven't necessarily panned out in the NFL. So that's a concern. I mean, it has to at least cross your mind. And then also, like, I posted some clips on Twitter of him where he just flat out misses, he misses the block, or he gets out over in front of his body and overextends and gets off balance.
That's it. We don't want we want to draft somebody who doesn't have any of those problems. We want somebody.
But he's a mauler. Like, he is a mauler and a mauler in the run game. And when he gets a hold of somebody, it's over. But he doesn't always get a hold of them.
Do you think he's got shorter arms the way he reaches?
I don't know. We're about to find out at the combine.
Mom Phyllis Trennepohl or one other.
Phyllis. Hey, you know what's going to happen is at pick 18, I think we're probably going to get a right tackle, and I'm going to be okay with it, but you're going to see all those shiny toys still hanging up on the shelf, and we're going to take that solid right tackle, which is what we need.
Yeah.
Man, it would sure be nice to have something on defense that would just fucking get after the quarterback, There's going to be a lot
I don't
of
think that's a shiny toy, That's trenches to me.
Yeah, but Terzon Newton, man, that motherfucker's a shiny-ass toy. He's goddamn fucking triple chrome.
Chop, I'm with you. I love a pass rush. If you can get somebody that interior, that Geno Atkins mold, man, that to me is a shiny toy. That is explosive and it's fun to see.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I get what you guys are saying. Shit, it get me rock hard.
Yes.
Terzon Newton, Johnny Newton, put him in the boner list.
My God.
Boner list. You hear that, Chris?
Yes.
Put him on the boner list.
You can get right on that fucking eggplant.
But yeah, I mean, Mims, Guyton, Latham, those are the guys I'm watching because I think if we take a tackle now, there's some mid-round guys that I like. Roger Rosengarten, I think these are third-round guys because I don't love what would be in the second round. I don't really have a guy that would be like, oh, I'll take him in the second. If we don't take one in the first, I would rather wait until the third. Because I think Roger Rosengarten,
How you feel about Blake Fisher?
He's right after Rosengarten. So he's another one of my third round right tackle guys. Matt Gonsalves from Pittsburgh. I was like, Goncalves, and I heard someone say Gonsalves, and I was like, wait, that makes way more sense. I need to throw it off my head. And then Delmar Glaze, who's played both at Maryland. So all four of those guys I have as third-round guys. They're my 4 third-round tackles, and they're all right tackle ability in the NFL. So if we don't take one in the first, I hope we wait till the third for a right tackle. And in that scenario, I also hope we brought in a guy for at least a 1-year deal.
Yeah. I'll be scared if
you're talking about a man with the last name Glaze.
Yeah.
He definitely should be on Bengals and Brews. That he should definitely be on this podcast. You guys have fun with that name.
I'm a big fan of those 4 players if we don't take one in the first and like the 3rd round. I don't want to do what we did with Jackson Carman though, and I don't want to just draft one of those guys that have a 3rd round evaluation in the 2nd round, because that's what I had on Carman.
Yeah.
3rd round, he needs to develop, and then they tried to move him to guard and fit him in, didn't work out. And I still think if they just would have kept him at tackle and developed him for a year, he might have panned out better.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make that mistake again.
So what about JPJ? So if like Guyton's there, would you take the number 1 rated center and then move Ted to left guard? Because I feel like
yes.
that would be a really good possibility. Like JPJ's there, the highest rated dude's Guyton. Move.
If we sign a right tackle, I'm down for it. Dustin.
Let me ask you this though: do you think he's there? I don't think he's there in the 2nd round. For us,
he's talking about the first. He's talking about the first round.
Oh, you're talking about the first round to take him in the first round. Yeah. I won't be mad about it, but we better get a right tackle if we're going to put someone on the line.
Well, that's the thing is if we sign. Here's a scenario that I think if we sign a right tackle for a 1-year deal, you draft JPJ at 18,
Jackson Powers Johnson for anyone who doesn't know who we're
and then
about.
like Dale said,
Powers Johnson, that's a T-shirt.
And then like Dale said, 3rd, 4th round, then you get your future right tackle. Hopefully, that's kind of where I could see that working out.
Also, isn't Ted Karras is in his last year on his contract, isn't it?
Yep.
Going into it, yes.
And also Alex Kappa.
No, he's got 1 more year.
Does he? Yep. Well, I'm just saying, man. JPJ can play that. The whole interior.
And that's where the Bengals do that. They draft for the future. I mean, that's the reason they draft Yoshi Voss and Chuck Sizzle. I mean,
I personally feel like
even Dax Hill, if you're looking as far as like. But we're higher. We were at 31.
So you move Ted Karras to left guard.
Jackson Powers Johnson can play guard also.
I can't hardly say his name. And then do you say, okay, Cordell Volson, we're gonna work with you at right tackle?
No, he's on the bench. He'll be your guard next year.
Yeah, he's benched.
He's benched.
I know
it's
he's
depth.
on the bench, but
that's the thing right there. It's depth. What we don't have.
No, I know what you're saying, Derek. And yes, he played tackle, in college. So if you think, and he got snaps at center, so you it would slide Volson to the role Cody Ford filled for the Bengals this year, where he's kind of the first guy in.
Right.
I would be if he wasn't going to be the starter because you added Jackson Powers Johnson to play guard or to play center and move Ted to guard. Either way, you wanted to do it, you could.
I feel like it's an ugly pick, but I'd like it. I think I'd like it.
I would too, and I think a lot of fans would lose their fucking shit.
Yes.
Because what the hell?
That's true, but I think that when he got on the field, they would not lose their shit because that fucking dude is a beast.
Yeah, 6'3".
He's a beast. He just plays at a position that, like the interior. People just don't respect the interior of the offensive line as much as they do, like the the tackles.
And the thing is, Chop, we gotta get more athletic on this offensive line. Period.
And he is athletic.
We're the least athletic offensive line in the league.
Yes, and if you put him, I mean, I love Ted Karras. It's not Ted Karras shade, but I mean, if he's there, I might be running to the.
Well, if the dude comes in too, and also if he competes for left guard and he plays competes with Cordell Volson and Ted Karras has finished out his last year under center.
Right.
Where JPJ learns on
maybe you say Ted knows the protections and the comfortability, snapping the ball. So you let him do it for this year, and you let Jackson Powers Johnson play left guard. He started at center this 1 year. He just now turned 21 years old, so he's a young guy too. But position versatility, because he played 400 snaps the year before, even though he's a 1 year full-time starter at center. He played 400 snaps the year before at Oregon. And he has played in games everywhere but left tackle. He's played right tackle and both guard positions. So Jackson Powers Johnson, you don't have to just say he's a center only.
Right. If he does good, he could be the right tackle. I mean,
do you think that he's the kind of center that you could compare, like that he'll be remembered like Jason Kelsey and Jeff Saturday? Is that the type of center you think he'll end up being?
As athletic as he is, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like the best center prospect. Best center prospect coming out since at least Frank Ragnow off the top of my head.
And
I think he has more potential than Frank Ragnow.
I'll say his
I won't be mad at the pick.
No, I'm
Protecting Joe, I'm not going to get mad at.
I'm gonna say his anchor. When he puts his feet in the ground, he doesn't get pushed back too much. So I mean, it's there. I saw a lot of him, and I was impressed with all of it. I don't think he's gonna be there at 18, but if he is, that's got to be a conversation to go get him.
I do think he's going to be there at 18.
I do think he'll be there at 18 too. Like,
really?
I think. So my point of this, from the start of the conversation, to circle back, was if he is there, if it's between him and Tyler Guyton, would you move back? Let's say 5 picks. Would you move back 5 picks and gamble to get JPJ, or
is Mims also on the board? Because let's say Mims is also on the board too.
I mean, if Mims is on the board, that makes it tough because I think there's going to be a lot of interest in having him. But
I'm saying Guyton and Mims and Jackson Powers Johnson's on the board. All 3 of them at pick 18. They're on the board.
I'm moving back.
I'm moving back.
If all 3 of them are there, I'm moving back because you're most likely getting one of them. Yeah. But no more than 5. 5's the most. That would be the most I would move back. And hopefully,
that could actually go for if they don't sign a right tackle at all, and they're just looking at a right tackle. Do they move back 5 picks if let's say Latham, Guyton, and Mims are all on the board? Do they try to move back 5 spots or so? Because there's 3 guys that if they felt comfortable enough with all 3 guys. Plus, I'll give another name: Kingsley Suamataia from BYU. Is a guy I have rated like right there with Mims. I have him basically.
Yeah, if you can move back 5 spots and then get a early 2nd round pick, and you're guaranteed to get one of those, any of those guys we just talked about at 18,
or 3rd round, or you move back and you get a 3rd round,
or 3rd round. Well, high 2nd or high 3rd, then I would do it because if all those guys are still there, you're almost guaranteed to get one of them at 5.
And Hunter says just take the best player on the board. And you know what? You're not wrong because sometimes you look at the trade downs that the Bengals make and the players they end up passing on. But I'm just saying, like when they took Jackson Carman, they were always going to take Jackson Carman. They added, 2 picks that didn't necessarily end up being what we hoped, and Tyler Shelvin and Deontay Smith. But
they did also add. Did they get Shooter out of that one too, or was that?
They got him in the 5th, and maybe they would have used, if they would have used one of those fourths on McPherson. Then you would look at it different.
Yeah.
Another name I'll mention, because it could be a similar conversation, is Zach Frazier. I only want to mention that because Mon was in here and he mentioned that name. You could say the same thing about Zach Frazier. I know in Daniel Jeremiah's mock, he had him going in the 1st round to the Lions. And he was saying play him at guard because they don't have any guards and keep Ragnow at center for them. You could say the same thing we just said about Jackson Powers Johnson. If Zach Frazier fell, I wouldn't take him at 18. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is if Zach Frazier's there in the 2nd round from West Virginia, he's your long-term center, but you could play him at left guard for a year. Move Volson to that, premier backup spot so you've got depth.
Do you think you'd have to take him there, or you think he'd be there in the 3rd? Because
I think he's 2nd.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremiah had him going in the 1st. You know what I mean? And his mocks I pay attention to. Because he does his mocks based on what he hears. He's a former, scout with the Ravens, so he's pretty plugged in. NFL Network. Like when he does a mock draft, I pay attention to what the guy says.
I just feel like if we did take him in the 2nd round, it would be one of them. Like I don't know how excited I'd be. I'd have to see it, and then
a lot of fans would be pissed about Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
So. You know what I mean? In the 1st round, we're saying
I just don't think I'd be. I don't think I'd be upset with that. You have 2 veterans to the left and right, and then whatever you put in on a right guard or right tackle there, I feel like he could solidify that line. I don't know. Maybe I'm higher than a lot of people, which I'm assuming I am because I don't think a lot of people would want center at 18. But I just think that dude could really do a lot for this offensive line.
I don't disagree with you.
I don't
at all.
disagree at all. Yeah,
I think it's a great conversation, honestly.
I think center is more important than people actually give it credit for. I mean, that's the anchor. That's the guy calls the pass, the blocking scheme out and everything. He's more important than I think people give him credit. Give him credit for it. To be honest.
Fuck it.
Well, a lot of
JPJ at 18.
Well,
lot of
Jeff
people
mentioned him
say-
off air. And Dusty, you weren't even part of that conversation. You
Mhm.
brought this up, and Jeff brought the same thing up off air. So it's pretty cool that's why I like having people on with a different perspective and questions, because then it's like, yeah, he is that good. I have him rated right around the 18th overall best player or so on the board. I don't know exactly, but it's close to that.
So a lot of talks that I've seen is that in his offense, he was the one calling out a lot of the protections, and so his IQ is super high. So I think there's going to be GMs and coaches are going to fall in love with him just because his IQ, not only what he did on the field. So I think that makes a big difference. It makes Joe Burrow's job a little easier, and Joe's already got a super huge, like his IQ, NFL IQ is reading defenses impressive. So you tie in somebody like that, and you have Ted Karras, like that makes that offensive line a lot smoother when you're all on the same page seeing stuff, and you get that extra set of eyes. So that's my thought.
Just think about this. This me and Dan were talking about off air. If we take JPJ at 18, Brian Bolsinger, I can't think of it. He's been on here. Bosarge. Thank you. He's been on here, and he was on my show last week. And he was saying that there could be a good enough right tackle at 40 in the second round for the Bengals to draft. So that's the one thing. Just think about this: if the Bengals can draft their future center and their future right tackle in the same draft, and they both hit, that's huge. And then you can go fill the trenches with free agents. You could go sign 3 interior defensive linemen, or you go pick up one, maybe the third. I don't know. It gets a little dicey then. But
hey, this is what I'm saying. Let's just take care of free agency so we can go best player available no matter what.
That's what.
There you
John,
go.
Me and Dan were talking about this off the air again. That's exactly what I hope they do. I hope they address everything in free agency like they did in 2021. They got so many guys. They got Hilton. They got Trey Henderson. They got Cheeto. They got all these guys that were, and I hate saying lower tiered players because they've been great players for us, but not the top guys. And they came in and they filled spots. That's what I think that the Bengals are going to do this year. Is they're going to fill their spots with free agents, and then they're going to go and draft best player available, which is what the Bengals do a lot of times.
So I'm just going to toss this one out there too. So Justin Matabuke, I'm sure I said his name wrong, for the Ravens. He's going to demand a lot of money. Probably can be like 20 mil. But would you be willing to spend that type of money for a dude that you think could put up 10 to 13? He put up 13 sacks last year. But a guy, let's just say he puts up 10 sacks on the interior this year.
I almost would, but it's just gonna be a hard hit. With $20 million for him and then 21 for T, that's $40 million for two players.
There's your salary cap and
right.
All the other holes you don't get to fill.
Yeah, so that's the problem, is because they're tagging T, and I think it's like I said, 20-21 million, and that's.
But would I be happy that we had Justin Matabuke on the Bengals?
Right,
yes.
right. But that's where it comes back
At the end
to
of the day.
what the guys on Hear That Podcast Prowl were talking about is if you cut Mixon and you cut B.J. Hill, then there's the money for T, and then there's the money for Abuke.
So I don't think you can cut Hill. That would be my pairing, just like when we had Larry O. So you have that Larry O style.
Oh, you're saying because of the depth, they can't cut him. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but this dude is younger. I think he's 26 years old, and he's got his upside. So he's coming into his prime. That's what I think of. Like, dude's coming into his prime. He's got the best ball in front of him. And what have we lacked the past couple seasons? That interior rush. When honestly, I think we win the Super Bowl if Larry Ogunjobi doesn't get hurt. If Larry O doesn't get hurt, I think there's really. If
I'm not saying do this, but if you cut Mixon and you cut B.J. Hill, you take that money and there's T. So then you take the money you are going to give T and you give it to Matabuke. You still have money to sign interior guys.
Well, here's my thought with that. Yes, because you still need to sign DJ Reader, or Grover Stewart, or somebody for that nose tackle.
And DJ's going to be cheaper because he got hurt.
My thought with if you were going to take Matabuke, and if you're going to add him, then maybe you do consider cutting BJ Hill. And I never thought I would say this coming into this show, but just thinking about it, then if you can get Sheldon Rankins for $3 million a year, I think you still would Matabuke and Sheldon Rankins as the pass rushers. And I think you save what, $8.5 million or something
like that. Yeah.
if BJ Hill is cut. So yeah,
I mean,
it would be under consideration if you got Matabuke, because there's your starter instead of BJ Hill. I don't want to pay a backup defensive tackle $8.5 million.
No.
At that point,
that's
would be
the point.
reason to. That would be my only reason to cut BJ Hill. Would be in the scenario you added a better player to start over him as a pass rusher, like a Matabuke or a Chris Jones. Then you bring in a Sheldon Rankins to be the backup, because I don't trust Zach Carter to be the backup.
No.
And I don't think the Bengals would pay a backup defensive tackle like BJ Hill $8.5 million for this season.
If they did, they would have signed Larry O. or
BJ would have. That is the scenario. That is basically the one scenario where I cut BJ Hill.
Yeah. And this is not BJ Hill hate. This is not Joe. It's just talking numbers, and I'm like, this is the way that would work. That you could do it, and you still have money left over to go get the backup guy. And that would make and it's all about making your interior defensive line and that better. And that's also with signing DJ Reader, because DJ is probably going to get the vet minimum or a low, some low number, because he's coming back from his second quad injury.
I don't think we're going to sign DJ Reader at the beginning of the season because he's going to still be hurt.
Yeah, that's
You're going to have to, though. Somebody will sign him.
I just bet they don't.
Well, that's the thing, is we don't know when DJ is going to be ready and what version of DJ we're going to get. And I love DJ Reader. I mean, I was big on wanting to sign him, but since this has happened, it's stuff you got to consider.
Yeah, and coming off an injury, especially D tackles usually take a season to get back to their true.
I'm with stranger here. Sweat.
But are you taking him in the first thing? If you don't sign anybody at nose tackle, you almost would have to take Sweat at 18. There's no guarantees just going to fall to the second round.
You got to go from 18
we
to
got
40.
9 picks. So
yeah, but 18 to 40 is a lot of picks.
I apologize. I come in late, but I got to go because I got to get showered up for work.
I understand.
But I'm going to keep listening, so make it, because you guys got to do the whole D while I'm in the shower, right?
Yeah. Why the hell did the Chiefs did have Tommy Townsend, one of the best punters in the NFL.
Yeah, love you guys.
Why the fuck did they? Are they that tight on money?
So we wouldn't get him?
No, give me Tommy Townsend. I was hoping we would have signed him last year when he was on the market, and the Chiefs extended him.
Well, and then they brought in the punt guy. I don't know. I think
I didn't even think about that part of it, Ronald. Somebody mentioned earlier that they signed him, but I didn't even think about the fact Tommy Townsend's already there. Fuck, give me him. They need to release him. Maybe you got to wait. Maybe you say Brad Robbins is good, but then Townsend gets cut.
Go grab him.
That's the final cuts. If Ariza outplays him.
But I mean, I'm saying that kind of tongue in cheek that the Chiefs picked up the punt god, so we wouldn't. But you got to think that's got to be in the back of their mind. They know we might have a punting competition, and he's out there, and she's like, we'll just take him, so give him a shot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you need to figure out your punting situation. You never know.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway.
But yeah, so we got through offense for combine stuff. Try to add defense in it at some point. So,
some point.
Yeah.
You want to just do a part 2 for this? We can tackle defense next week.
Well, we can't do it next week. That's when the damn combine starts.
Sure, you can just do it before. Just do it Tuesday or Wednesday. Combine starts Thursday, Thursday.
Well, measurements start, I think, earlier in the week, but the on-field drills, I think, start Wednesday.
Well, maybe we could do it the day that Satori gets done with the draft guide, and
But we're supposed to have the Chickster on Monday. So
you got Chick? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so Chick Ludwig.
I've been trying to get him on for a while. That's great.
Supposed to be on Monday, so can't really do it on Monday's show because
dude, go talk to Chick.
On 30 years at Daily News, does the Bengals post game shows on iHeart and 700 W.
And he does the Reds post games too sometimes.
Yeah, so should be fun.
Dude, Chick Ludwig cracked me up when we brought Corey Dillon down to the Banks. We went to the Holy Grail. Him and James Rapine were on the air, and his jaw dropped when he saw Corey Dillon. It was funny.
Yeah, I'm hoping Corey, maybe he'll come on Monday. I know he does your shows on Monday, but I think Greg was going to reach out and ask him if he'd come on Monday. But
Greg stole my idea.
I hope Chick's not watching because
you're going to surprise me. That's it. Honestly, dude, that's exactly what I was trying to do because he was so happy.
Well, once we had Chick,
that's what I was going to do.
I seen on his Facebook that picture of Corey.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Because I can't even get Chick to. Greg is Big Savage. I'm assuming Greg got this. He is the man because I can't get Chick to even answer me back.
We'll see. Things could change between now and then. That's the point.
Either way, guy, that's awesome. Congrats on that. That's a good get.
I mean, I know Greg's excited. I'm excited. He said it's one of his favorite people to listen to throughout the years and read his stuff too. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you guys had Corey Dillon on, I think Jeff, did you have him on first?
What between our two shows?
Because Joe and Pop didn't necessarily want to have Corey on ours. That was Greg who kind of reached out to him. And,
Greg set it all up, and then he was going to come. He could have came on here, but they didn't want him on. So then he came on mine. Yeah,
that was awesome because Corey Dillon, when I was growing up, I know you guys are 10, 15 years older than me, right?
Yeah, that's it. I'm only 10 or 15 years older. Yeah, let's go with that, Dusty.
I'm giving Dale shit, and I think Dale's like 4 or 5 years older. But no, I mean, he was one of my favorite players growing up, and I saw that he was coming back and doing some shows and stuff. And man, that I tell you what, that made me feel so good just seeing him. And I'm sure there's a bunch of fans that told you guys that, but that was awesome. It's really great to see him come back to Cincy and show love to fans, and especially hearing that he was a little nervous how fans would reciprocate that love.
Oh, dude, he was shocked when we were walking around downtown. He was shocked at how many people were ecstatic to see him.
Well, Jeff and Chop and Greg are all like best friends with the man now, so
we're like besties.
I'm like a fringe friend, I'm like that guy that he sees every now and then.
He's the crazy uncle. We call him Uncle Dale.
But yeah, Corey's awesome, and he's on Jeff's show almost every week. He's been on ours 2 or 3 times, and I can't say enough good things about the guy. I definitely plan on him being one of my 2 votes for the Ring of Honor this year.
Oh yeah, definitely vote for him. He's getting in this year.
Yeah. And if he don't get in this year, man, he should.
Dude, if he doesn't get in this year, it's freaking rigged.
Well, it's the older guys. I mean, it's the same. It's a similar thing to what I wanted to do last year. With some of these guys are so much older that you hate to see them go down a path of what happened to Ken Riley with the Hall of Fame.
Well, hey, I'm good with
that. Is the reason. Which that's what like last year I was voting some of the older guys over, Boomer and Chad who got in last year.
Yeah, this year I'm voting Corey, obviously, and I'm probably voting Lamar Parrish because he's another one that.
Yeah, Lamar was one of the people I voted for last year, and I think Bob Trumpy might have been the other one.
Trumpy, and then Crumry is another one I think should get in too. But I mean, we got that's where.
Lapham and Trumpy are all age-wise like some of the oldest ones.
Yeah, you need some of the new guys and then some of the older guys. Where I'm at, you got to have one of each. Is what I think every year. Go ahead, Dusty. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember we had I was on Dale's show a while back when we had this conversation, and Parrish was one of the dudes that was like, I would really like to see him and Lapham. And my argument was, I just think at the build up of this, I still think we should do 3 players for the first.
There's too many.
I don't know X amount of years. Like
there's too many.
Let's just say 5 to 6, 7 years. Do 3 guys and then drop it down because Chad Johnson. I obviously think Chad should be in. He's between him and Corey Dillon. Growing up in my era, that was the big interest in the Bengals. I loved watching them for those dudes. And then obviously Big Willie was a monster to see him play. But it was I just think they should extend it. And I know there's been arguments. I've talked to a couple different people on Twitter about it. And they think 2's good to extend it out. But
I'll let you guys get to this too when you're done. I got to check on my dog real quick.
But I really think I think 3 is a good number because I think there's dudes that are very deserving. Like Dave Lapham's been in this organization for years, And I mean, he played good ball in big games, and I think he's deserving to be there. And there's just a bunch of guys that deserve to be there. So I think adding an extra player would make a big difference.
Yeah, like I said, there's too many guys because you got over 50 years of players that you're trying to catch up on, and the rate we're going, we're not going to get everybody who already should be in there before Burrow, Chase, T. These guys start coming. We're still going to be trying to get guys in from the 70s, I think, and the 80s. The rate we're going with only 2. That's what I'm worried about. We're not going to be able to get it. And these guys from the 70s and 80s are not going to be here. I mean, they're getting older. I mean, Trumpy's in this. I think Trumpy's he's got to be in his 70s at least. I mean, Lamar Parrish has got to be close to his 70s. I mean,
that was CD's. That's what he said on, I think, your show was, he wants to be there and enjoy it. And I can understand that, and I respect that. Like, you want your day to be recognized, and you don't want that day to come after, like, it'd be great for your family, but it'd be great for you to have that day and experience it with your family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Says I just saw we're getting new field turf or a new field surface going back to the style of turf we had before. I don't know if that. I've heard rumors about that. I don't know if that's actually true or not. If that's what we're doing or not. I honestly don't know. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not. No.
So I mean, I know they talked about because I mean the talk in the NFL is to try to get everybody the same field. That's kind of where I think the players are at. They have the same surface because the NFL.
There you go. Parker says confirmed by the NFL and ESPN.
There you go. Parker, come on my show sometime. I miss Parker. I'm trying to get him on. He's a busy guy. But yeah, that's where I think they're trying to get everything to be conformed because baseball, pretty much everybody's got grass. I mean, there's very few teams that have turf, and the ones that have turf are getting new stadiums. So I think that's where football is trying to get to, where they all have the same playing surface, which makes sense, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, baseball. When you play baseball on turf and you play it on grass, it's a total different.
Completely different.
Get some.
The ball bounces
hard,
this high off AstroTurf.
Yeah, and I mean, you just get some burners coming at you. I remember playing and getting some coming at me, and you just don't know how to read it. If you're used to playing on grass and you're in a inside facility practicing, it's just totally different. And you get ruts in grass too, so you get different hops. But I think playing on the same surface is the ideal thing for the NFL.
I also want this Crypt Keeper, the leaping tiger, back in the middle of the field. Can we do that while we're at it?
Please. Dude, I would love the throwback jerseys. Them throwback jerseys, that would be the best. That's my favorite jersey with the leaping tiger on the sleeve.
Okay. Those ones. I was going to say, not the old ass Cleveland Brown looking ones that Jeff wants.
I like those.
No. I want the one. Ooh. Them are bad, bro.
Yeah, I like the leaping tiger ones too, and I'm not saying I only said the pumpkin head ones only for like one game, but I like the leaping tiger ones because I don't know if you saw Monday's show. Cap actually got a Corey Dillon leaping tiger jersey, and Corey's face, his jaw dropped. Like, where'd you get that at? And just seeing the jersey, I'm like, dude, that is a awesome looking freaking jersey. I like that.
Dude, those jerseys, that's my favorite, man. If you could throw anything back, just do that for one game. I'll be extremely happy.
Jeff, that was like 2 weeks ago. I was on that show with Cap. I remember him showing us that. It was like 2 weeks ago. That wasn't this.
Well, he showed Corey Monday. Yeah. He showed us 2 weeks ago, but he showed it to Corey Monday. But yeah, but wasn't that a sick looking jersey though?
Yeah. Well, I love those jerseys, man. I always think of, I mean, obviously Corey, but then even like that was like Peter Warwick. Chad, right?
Chad Johnson,
when he first came out. That was
Jeff
right before
Blake.
we changed. Yeah.
Willie Anderson. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Hell yeah.
That wear those uniforms.
And yes, they are going back to the old style. Is it turf or grass? What are they going back to?
Go look at the Bengals website. I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody tell us.
Yeah, we're on the air. We can't look. Actually, I can.
Jeff is not a good multitasker.
I am not.
Well, we might as well hit these defensive guys, Dusty. I know Jeff's got a show.
Let's
Yeah,
go
you guys
crazy,
hit.
bud.
I got
If you got a
I got to
half
go here in a
hour.
little bit. Yeah, good. I got to go here in a little bit, but yeah, good.
Defense, probably. I mean, defensive end. I wouldn't mind adding the defensive end, but is there anybody, Dusty, on the defensive end wise?
So
I
that
don't know.
one dude from UCLA that has the injury problems that kind of drop. I think he's from UCLA.
Yeah,
he's got
Latu.
Yeah, that cat. So if he could fall, if he did fall, he'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting thing to have because who's going to go there? Who's going to take his place? And then if an extra quarterback gets taken, there could be some real talent still on the board. Possibly. I'm a fan of the trade back just because I think when we talked about wide receivers, I think there's some solid wide receivers in that third, fourth round.
We need
running
some
back.
defensive ends to kind of go in the first for some of the talent we're talking about getting pushed down to us and having those options. I think somebody asked that earlier. They were saying, how do you see him getting pushed down? How many quarterbacks? Well, I think McCarthy would need to be the fourth one off the board before we pick. The receivers, obviously, 3 are probably going to be going, if not 4. Then a corner like Terry and Arnold, and then Dallas Turner, Latu that you're talking about, and Verse. Do any of those guys or 2 of those guys come off the board before 18? If not 3, would be huge.
Yeah.
So
if you want to, I looked it up here for the turf thing. If you want to hear, what they're saying is the Paycor Stadium will install a new field turf core system for this upcoming season. This marks a return of field turf, which was previously served as the stadium service from 2004-2011.
Field turf trademark.
Yeah. So with upgrades, the Bengals come the 8th team in the NFL. So field, but they said field turf though. Don't they have field turf now?
Well, this is field turf.
FIELDTURF, field turf.
Yeah. They have turf, but they don't have field turf.
I think
I don't fucking know.
that's what, like, is it is that grass? I thought they had field turf. Because before, when they got rid of it, that was grass. That's what kept ripping up in chunks. So I don't know.
It's the turf is the same we had. Matt says,
yeah, 2004. Yeah, so I just read 2004, 2011. Yeah. Isn't that the same one that ripped up and fell apart on us?
We shall find out. Hopefully, it's not improved. Field turf.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Just get back to defense.
Defensive ends.
So if Verse is there in Turner. Well, let's not say there, but who do you have higher? I'm assuming you have Turner higher.
I got Turner, Latu, and Verse, but I have them all as
kind of grouped together.
Potential picks at 18, like talent-wise at 18.
So let's say Turner's there. Turner and Mims. Who would you take over Turner and Mims? Say the D tackles say. A lot of people think Murphy's going to test really well, and he's probably going to go off the board. And then also Johnny. So Johnny Newton's gone, and Murphy's gone. Would you consider Turner over Mims?
I mean, I think you have to consider talent. It's the same thing with Latu or Verse. I think they'd be in the conversation. Mims still scares me. It's also the injury, not just that he started 8 games. He had an ankle injury. He came back off of tightrope surgery on his ankle, and then he injured his ankle again in the SEC championship. So that concerns me that, it's a recurring injury with the ankle wise. So that scares me with Mims. So I would definitely consider that over Mims, but I don't know, man. Guyton, Latham. I don't know who's going to be highest on their board,
Right. I just think if that's the case, I think there's a real good trade back scenario. Unless there's somebody that they scouted out that's super solid. Like I'm not opposed to moving back a few spots because I think there's going to be talent there that's going to be pretty pretty close. And if you're looking at, like we talked about JPJ, like I don't know if I don't know if he goes like he's going to be there at 18. I truly think. So
I do
if he's
too.
somebody,
But I think he's talented enough to that if he was the pick, I wouldn't be mad at all.
Dude, if he's there at 18, man, I'd have a hard time.
I'm good with that pick. I'm honestly probably better with that pick than Mims, and that might be my take. But he just
who would you think might be up there at 40 then? That's the thing for me, because if you're taking JPJ at 18, and just say you didn't sign a right tackle, you got to take one at 40.
Well, I'd probably wait for Blake Fisher at the third.
What are we picking? It's not 40. It's a little later than that. But
I thought it was 40.
It's in the 40s, I think.
All right. Well, on that note, I gotta go, boys. My guest showed up, so thanks for having me. Appreciate you, boys.
All right, buddy. See
you.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, so I'm assuming
49.
Let's just say we take somebody a Riley Reef level, Illuminor style dude, that can get you by for a year, but you get Jackson Powers Johnson. I just think that line is going to be so much better. And you got Tyler Boyd leaving. If you trade back and you get an extra 3rd round pick or 4th round pick, and you get a Corley or you get Baker. You get one of those dudes, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the trade back, and if you get him, that's solid to me.
Yeah, it's not bad. Defensive end, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna take it. Some guys like I just want to see how I guess they test. Like Austin Booker, who had a good Senior Bowl week. I don't know. There's nobody like Darius Robinson, who's been a monster. I think ends up in the 1st round. He's going to be fun for some team. It's probably not going to be the Bengals, but
what about the Penn State dude? Not Chop Robinson, Chop Robinson.
Yeah, there's Chop, and there's also Adisa Isaac, who I kind of have as late 2nd, early 3rd type player. Yeah, just see how both of those guys test. I mean, they both look super athletic, so. They end up with elite RAS scores. I mean, it might push them up. I know, Chop Robinson, he's going to need a little work, but he's probably going to go in the 1st round. I just think it might be later 1st round.
Yeah. Almost like a mild
question here as we get into D tackles. I have him as I just D line, but I have him listed at D tackle for Brandon Dorlus from Oregon. Now he's played edge the last 2 years. The year before that, he played defensive tackle. I think he would project better as a defensive tackle, but at the same time, he weighed in at like 272 at the Senior Bowl, which is not great for a defensive tackle. So body type is almost is he a tweener or is he versatile? And you almost say tweener on this one. It's usually if you like him or not, but he really kind of is a tweener because I don't know that he has the full athleticism to be a full-time defensive end compared to, the size to be a defensive tackle. So it's just a guy you're going to have to move around a little, but he's got talent and makes plays. But definitely, Parker, definitely a tweener.
What do you think Fisk is going to weigh? Because I know he was on the lighter side.
He was at the Senior Bowl, so
I think he was he was in like the high 290s, I think. So he's a little. I mean, he's not little for a 3 tech, but if you're talking about one using for a nose tackle,
yeah, he's not that. He's definitely. He was 6'3", 295.
95.
So, yeah, and he's 6'3", so. But his motor is just fun. He's going to be 24. Needs to do better finishing tackles. His arm length isn't great. But like I said, insane motor, really good hands, good burst off the snap, anticipation on plays. He knows what's coming usually. High IQ type guy. I like Braden Fisk.
I do too.
I have him as my 5th overall D tackle. Like, I wouldn't be pissed if we took him in the 2nd, but like he would definitely be a guy that like, oh, he slides to the third because of the age and maybe the overall functional strength makes him fall to the third. I think he'd be a really good pick in the third round. So
over if Michael Hall's there.
I got him as my number 4 D tackle. I would be fine with Hall in the second round. I mean, he's 280. So once again, 6'2", 280, more on the lighter side for a D tackle. But the dude just has a great get off, pretty good motor as well. I really like Michael Hall. I wouldn't complain if he was there. If he was there in the third, yeah, I'd take him in the third over Fisk. But
yeah, and you said on Twitter, you said you take Hall over Sweat. Is that depending on free agency, or is that just in general?
Yeah, it would have to, like, if we don't sign anybody, like if we don't sign DJ Reader and we don't sign Grover Stewart in place of DJ Reader, then I would probably take Sweat over Hall. But for current needs now, thinking that I would at least think we bring back DJ Reader, worst case scenario. You don't want to go, because it's just not a deep nose tackle type draft.
Yeah.
Then I want to lean Hall because I want that pass rush. But it would be a tough conversation if we didn't have anybody. I would hope McKinley Jackson's a high target, in the round after.
Yeah. Did you see that?
I don't love him like Sweat.
Did you see what I did?
What?
That's why I was sitting here with this pen and I tossed it and like landed all weird up on me and I grabbed it. That's why I made that weird face. But yeah, Hall, he looked good at the Senior Bowl. He had some good practice film where he looked nice, and so did Fisk. So I know Fisk. How old's Fisk? Is he 24?
He will be turning 24. Where Hall, I think, is like closer to 20. I don't have his age down as a pro or con, but I think he's closer to 21, maybe turning 22. I know he's younger. A lot of people thought he'd go back to Ohio State for another year, but yeah, I mean, I can see why he came out. He believes in himself too.
Yeah. Well, I like that. I do. I know you don't like what's that Washington kid's name? Braylon. It's
not that I don't like him. I just don't. For defensive end wise, I just think I don't know. There's something about him. Like,
yeah,
I don't get the first round hype for that guy at all.
Oh, I'm not saying first round.
I'm just saying he's like a late first round on the consensus mock boards, and I'm like, man, I see him as like third round guy, like early.
Well, that's how I am with Jenkins. Like Chris Jenkins, I just don't see it. We talked about it before when I'd been on my show when we was talking about him, but I don't know. Like I guess
I see the flashes with Jenkins. Like I rewatched all those guys yet again. A couple.
Maybe I need to rewatch
different games, but there's flashes. But yes, like it's not great, but there's flashes. Like watch the Washington game in the championship. There was some flashes in that. Now he just gets washed out sometimes too. But you just want to see overall more production from him than what he's put up, because there's pass rush potential, but he's very solid against the run. And he's just one of those guys that I think makes it, His dad was a player, and not that matters, but, good pedigree there. But he's a team type. He's always celebrating. You see that, whether his teammate makes a play or he's just one of those guys that hypes everybody up. And I think like he was on Feldman's freak list, so I think his ceiling is still higher as a pass rusher. Maybe he just wasn't asked to do it as much. I don't know. Like from what I've seen, he doesn't. It's inconsistent production.
Yeah,
but
I'm curious what his size and weight's going to be.
Yeah, he's one to watch.
Yeah,
same thing with Murphy. The Texas kid, that's another one. He's listed at 6'1", 308, but some people were like, oh, he doesn't seem 308. So I'm curious to see what his actual measurables are at the combine.
But Murphy also kicked in. He played. I don't know if he actually played nose tackle, but he kicked inside a little more than 3 tech, and he was fairly good against the run. Like it wasn't like he was horrible against it. It wasn't like he was a pure pass rusher.
Yeah.
I feel like he did a little more than that.
Yeah, this is a kid I've got, Jonah Ellis that went to Utah. He's got a dad that played in NFL, like 3 brothers apparently that played in NFL. And I loved his tape, like super explosive. This is a defensive end instead of D tackle. But I loved his tape. Now he's not like super big, and obviously that's always a concern. I think he's a little older. I don't have those notes right in front of me. All right, Parker said, "Sell me on Ellis." He don't see it. I'll give you what I wrote, and I'm gonna get.
Dale, you sell him on it, and I'm gonna let my dog outside real quick.
All right. I'll look up Ellis and see but I remember loving his tape, just the explosiveness. So I put burst off the line, pursuit speed, awareness, high effort player. Has a good spin move. Overall has a lot of moves. Pass rush arsenal. Football family, as we mentioned. Then cons, just the size. Like he's listed at 6'1", 243. So he's definitely small for a defensive end. That's going to be the problem. He's probably going to be better as like a 3-4 type player as an outside linebacker than he would be for the Bengals. So if I was strictly judging him for the Bengals, then I wouldn't love that. And then he's not going to be super long, and then he does struggle getting off blocks at times. But I like him. I don't know. But I may be overly high on him, and maybe I'm down on Braylon Trice because I actually have him over Trice. Adisa Isaac, I have sandwiched between those two. Yeah, he is a Stiller, Parker, 100%. Parker says so. Yes. He's going to be really good with the Stillers as a pass rusher. Honestly, it reminds me of the guy they got last year from Wisconsin. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but it's like, oh, I really like him as a pass rusher. He goes there, and it's like 4th, 5th round. And Ellis, honestly, I think I'm higher because purely tape evaluation, and he's at the bottom of the 2nd round for me, and maybe he ends up in the 3rd, but I do like him. The Shadow League. I don't know. Yeah, Airbig was the guy. Somebody sent me a thing about the Shadow League. I just, I did the thing last year the best I could, but I kind of did it after. But
I don't even know what that is.
Had to tell me more. But so you kind of pick players and draft players. You would enjoy this.
What is it?
So like you pick a player as they're coming on the board before they're picked. So like, let's say it's at pick 18 or whatever, and like I think last year I did it, and it was 2 picks in every round because I didn't have any team. I didn't have anybody on my roster. So when you first start, you can do like 2 picks. And you roll dice or I don't remember. Whatever you did to do the numbers. So I had a certain pick numbers for the first round. It was like this pick and that pick. And anybody that's on the board, you can take at that point. But you're supposed to take them before they're drafted. So like I was doing a live show, so I did mine after. So it's kind of cheating in a way.
Well,
so I feel good about my team. And then I drafted guys you can pick them too, like Ivan Pace. I was like, bam, I'm adding Ivan Pace. He went on draft,
Yeah, Ivan I can't talk. Jesus, I'm getting tired, bud. Ivan Pace should not have gone undrafted. That was an issue.
Parker can give you more details.
All right. Thank you, Parker.
So it's like at Dusty Langley 03, right?
Yeah. I think
I had to make up for that time I forgot your name. You've been giving me
shit. Dude.
Bro, I've got, when you have 80 pages of notes for a draft guide, the names, sometimes you forget a name, and it's like, I love you, but I forget names. I forget my own goddamn name sometimes.
I was giving you shit, buddy. I didn't even listen to it. I was setting things up, and I was researching some people, and you texted me and said like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a little late," and I was like, "That's fine. That's fine with me because I'm still taking notes on things I wanted to talk about." And then I listened to it back like randomly, and I was like, "Oh, that son of a gun!" He forgot what he was doing. That was literally listening.
Like I had to think, and it was like Dusty. I was like, "Fuck."
It's no, it's all good. But I do want to say, the past few years, I've hit on the first round. So I hit on Joe Burrow, which was easy. I hit on him. I hit on Jamar, which was, I mean, Jamar was my dude. Obviously, I won. What's his name? The offensive tackle that went to Detroit. I liked him, but I wanted Jamar and Joe to be together. Following year, Dax was kind of my dude. Which I don't know if he's playing maybe slightly out of position. But I still got a little belief in Dax. Hopefully Dax Hill performs a little better for us. And then Miles Murphy. Like right now, I'm 4 years strong on our first round picks. So I'm hoping whoever I get high on. So Dale, I need you to sell me on somebody to be super high on. That's maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody I don't exactly want, but it's going to be
for round
be a
one.
better play. For round one. That's all I'm good with. And I had
selfishly, I want Johnny Newton at D tackle, but I would love for
I do too.
Talais Fuaga to fall also. All right, I just feel more comfortable with him than I do Latham, Guyton, and Mims.
Me too.
So like those are the two. So see, you're already sold on him. You gotta decide.
Dude, I just gotta decide, and then whatever I choose, the Bengals are gonna go with. And Chase Brown. I was high on Chase Brown, and I think I said on Twitter I was cool with them taking him. I think I said 4th. I might have said 3rd round, but which was, I mean, getting him in the 5th round was a steal. But I was definitely high on the guy, and the Bengals took him.
3rd round talent, I thought.
Yeah, so I'm doing fairly well, at least in the 1st round.
There you go. So see, this is right up your alley. You'll love.
I don't know. Okay, this is a hypothetical. It's probably not going to happen. But let's say Johnny Newton's there and Byron Murphy. Which one you going with?
I just hire on Newton, and that's no knock on Murphy. I love Newton. Like Newton's like number 9 overall on my board, and Murphy's 16. So either one of them I'd be happy with at 18. I just like Newton's two-way ability, and he's done it for longer. You know, Murphy's a 1-year starter compared to Newton had like leading pressure rate at defensive tackle the year before, you know, and Murphy wasn't even getting tons of snaps or was a starter at Texas. I mean, obviously he rotated in and played. It's not like he didn't play, but I feel more comfortable with Newton. But both of them, I want to see their measurables. I mean, it's not going to affect like D tackle and offensive tackle. Those are 2 positions I think we should do that I've hammered so much. It's any measurables or anything from the combine for those positions, especially being interior like linemen on both sides of the ball. It's not going to change. Some other guys at D tackle I want to mention. So Chris Jenkins, we mentioned. I do want to see what he tests because he's supposed to test like a freak. I want to mention a few names just at each position because we've been over 2 hours. Crazy long show.
Yeah, we're going crazy right now.
That's what we do, man. We love the draft. Rook, Dorless.
Oh, you wanted to talk about him.
I love Rook, and I'll talk about him playing more. Like there'll be plenty of breakdowns, but just I want to mention some names to finish this show out. So Rook Arohu, quite the name. Brandon Dorless, Dwayne Carter. These are guys I want to see how they test. Mason Smith, who has great size. Curious to see what his RAS ends up being after all the testing. A guy who has some great splash plays and then disappears for a long time. And a lot of these guys, I've put things out on Twitter, little clips of them, my thoughts on some of them. Any other guys at deep tackle for you before we move on to linebacker real quick?
So these are a little later probably, but McKinley Jackson, Dwayne Carter, and Gabe Hall.
Yeah,
I know Gabe Hall is probably going to be a later guy, but
I've got him as a 5th round guy. Like there's flashes. He is super like long, but sometimes that, you know, he's like 6'5", 6'6". Sometimes that goes against you when you're interior defensive lineman. And at Baylor, he's played both. So he's played D and D tackle.
Is that where what was his name? Andrew Billings, he played at Baylor, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to somebody talking about him the other day, and I think they said he was only like 25 right now. So he came out super young. I could
Yeah.
maybe maybe it was the wrong person. Maybe I'm confused, but I'm pretty sure it was Andrew Billings, and
He
he's only
did.
like
He
25
did.
right now.
Yeah, he came out super young. He just got a 2-year deal with the Bears too, because we did a free agent defensive tackle show. I don't know his exact age, but yeah, he is super young. He came out, he was like 20 years old when he came out from Baylor. We got him in the
Yeah,
4th round. A lot of people project him. I love that pick. Didn't
I was
necessarily pan
ecstatic.
out, but he's still in the league. He's still producing. Uh, I don't think it was a bad pick, even in hindsight.
Yeah, I love that pick.
Chris said 1st round preference: Newton, Fuaga, JPJ. I mean, that's how I have those guys ranked on my board. Now, maybe there's some other names I'd take in there, and I'm okay with taking some, some other players, but I do like all 3 of those guys a lot, and that's the order I would take them in based on
That's
those
my
3
order.
players. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad if we got any of those guys at all, because I think all of them have all pro potential easily.
yeah. I think Fuaga will go higher, but I think Jackson Powers Johnson could have a better career, if that makes sense. Like I
Yeah,
think, like if you look at like position, obviously you want the higher paid position, but if you want a dude that's going to be a stabilizer for their career with the team, I think Jackson Powers Johnson could be that guy, and he's going to be cheaper too. But you want that 5th-year option too with your right tackle if you draft a stud, and if he's a guy that you develop behind somebody, like that 5th-year option comes in huge. But right now I really want immediate impact guys. That's why I'm pretty high on a 3rd-round receiver right now, because I think there's a lot of talent there.
well, and I
And I
think
think,
slot receiver too. Like 3rd through 5th round, like I said, I think we could land a starting slot receiver anywhere in the 3rd through 5th round, depending, who ends up falling. But I mean, if we took your guy Tosh Washington in the 5th round, I would feel okay with him being the starter in the slot this year. I really would.
yeah, I would too. In I don't know. I feel like his uh, I don't know. It's how we use him. There's a lot of players that can come into a team in the circumstance they come into. They perform really well and it surprises people, but it's also the team they go into. So if we're feeding T and Jamar in, that's a circumstance, like there's going to be people that aren't getting the ball. It's just the whole pie circumstance with free agency and players. It's the way you're going to feed the ball as well. But I'd almost rather a receiver. I don't know if Jeff said he was wanting a running back before receiver, or it might have been tight end, but I'm definitely cool with getting a wide receiver earlier, I think, than maybe most people.
Yeah. I just want to mention some names. I'm not going to go in depth on any of these guys, go more in depth on these players later on, because we still got time once free agency starts to the draft. And even free agency isn't here yet, a couple weeks out. So 2-3 weeks out. But linebacker, Junior Colson, Trevin Wallace. Curious to see how those guys test. I like both as players. I mean, Edgerrin Cooper, I know that's the guy you like.
There we go.
Curious to see how all those guys test. At corner, Nate Wiggins. Curious to see how he tests. And once again, we'll go into more in depth on these. TJ Tampa, a guy we both like at corner. Kyrie Jackson, I've got as a 2nd-round guy. Has great size at like 6'3" and length. So I'm curious to see how he tests. I think he could be Mike Sanders still from Michigan. If we're looking for a slot corner a year out, maybe in the 3rd round, to replace Hilton, who's coming into the last year of his deal. Safeties, I don't know if we'll take I would like a veteran safety, and then I think we're set because we have Dax and Battle. I think a veteran safety to round out that room makes more sense. But just in general, some safeties, Bo Braid, Cole Bishop, James Williams. James Williams played linebacker at the Senior Bowl. Curious to see what he just as overall testing. So that's kind of my list. of players I'm looking forward to. Wanted to at least get that in. We are 2 hours and 15 minutes in an insanely long episode. Thank you all for sticking with us that did. I know a lot of people probably tuned out or went to Jeff's show, and I hated to cut it into Jeff's show's time. If you're still looking for something to watch, him and Game On 513 is on air right now. But I appreciate you guys. We will be back tomorrow. And we're going to talk draft again tomorrow on the show. So we will, the Brock Bowers thing is out there. We talked about a little on here. We'll get more in depth with that tomorrow. And then honestly, anybody that's got questions tomorrow, that's the episode to ask them. I'm just literally going to leave it at like, ask a bunch of questions, man. Ask away, ask about prospects. I'll give you what I have on them, tell you what I think, try to get the draft guide out soon. Check out Dusty's show. Dusty, tell them where to find you on Twitter and about your show. And I appreciate you all.
Yeah, man. Check me out on Bengals Army. And I think I don't even know my Twitter name. I think it's
at Dusty Langley 03. I got it. I got you.
Yeah.
See, I remember your name. I didn't forget.
I don't even remember what I got on there. But
see, you forgot your own name.
Dude, I do it all the time. I forget my own birthday half the time, my age. But
give me shit.
Yeah, check me out on there. Bengals Army. We put out a little bit of shows, a little bit of content. We're pretty inconsistent. We got to get better with it. But yeah, we love talking Bengals and love coming on with Dale and talking some football, especially
He's got
draft
sweet man cave now. He's got the sweet man cave.
Yeah, it's coming along, baby.
Love you too, Pork Chop, you sexy animal. Have fun at work, buddy. All right, man. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow at 3:30. Who